Welcome to the Fantasy Audiobook. Summoner of the Undead. Skills upgrade once every second. Chapter 81. As soon as Qinzi arrived home, his mentor Bai followed him. The other party looked at him and hesitated to speak. Teacher, what's wrong? Qinzi asked doubtfully. It's nothing. Bai thought for a while, but still didn't plan to ask further. It is theoretically possible for a level 22 professional to wipe out a Jalan organization. However, the aisle was filled with dense skeletons, which really shocked her. There is something very wrong with her new apprentice. The stronger the apprentice, the more benefits she will receive, and isn't this the case for summoners of the undead? I have applied for the skill book and a set of diamond level 20 equipment you mentioned through special channels. They should arrive at noon tomorrow at the latest. Remember to check them then. There are also people from Li's headquarters who will arrive in 3 days. He may cause trouble for you. You are now an official member of the Central District. He dare not touch you. The official power is weak in the local area, but the talents are concentrated in the central area. District, so the official is still very strong in the Central District and can stabilize the other super families. Of course, if 2 super families join forces, the Central District official will be in trouble. Quote, currently, the Central District is still in a pattern of checks and balances. Before leaving, Emperor Bai carefully explained to Qinzi. The Dragon Kingdom has billions of people, and the civilians can occasionally show the potential to clear nightmare-level dungeons. These mentors are responsible for digging out these talents and carefully cultivating them. Super aristocratic families are more inclined to extend their own bloodline and use massive resources to create nightmare-level dungeon geniuses. The 2 sides have different roots, and the talents they create are also different. Which one is better or worse is still unclear. The official represents the interests of the common people, while the super family represents the interests of the blood nobles. Sometimes these interests are intertwined and extremely complex. Bai laughed, seemingly a little worried when he left. She was not worried that someone could threaten Qinzi. But he was afraid that Qinzi would do something. Like those dark skeletons crowding the aisles. There is still half a day until the skills and equipment are delivered. Qinzi, accompanied by the Queen of Darkness, rested for a while and then contacted Tang Zhu to go to the Manor Dungeon connection point. The main reason is that there are too many messy equipments in the warehouse, and it is difficult to find some key props. And I don't even have it in my hands, so I might as well sell them all. Tang Zhu set up a private account for him, and he could also experience a sense of accomplishment as his deposits increased. Soon, the official special car parked downstairs of his house. It attracted frequent glances from surrounding residents. After Qinzi got in the car, Tang Zhu smiled and said, "Congratulations, you have become Baidi's student. Your future is limitless. I heard that the Central District is the real stage, so I want to go there to see what is special about the Central District compared to other places." Qinzi said. This is one of his long-cherished wishes. When people go to higher places, they want to see the scenery higher up. Well, the main dungeons of Black Abyss from all places will gather in the central area. As a peerless genius, you really need to go and take a look. Tang Zhu said with emotion. How is the mall established in the Manor Dungeon now? Now we are on the right track, but the quality of the equipment and props that can be provided is not too high, and there are only a few gold-level equipment. However, after the lower-level professionals let go of killing monsters, their levels improved quickly, and the requirements for equipment became increasingly higher. As time goes by, the mall may not be able to keep up. Tang Zhu sighed. She was almost worried to death these days. I originally wanted to go to the market next door to buy 100 pieces of silver equipment and 50 pieces of gold equipment. I didn't expect these guys to be hiding. No money will be given to buy it. I have a batch of high-quality equipment here that can be filled into the mall. As for the price, you can give it to me. Qinzi said lightly. He is currently in charge of the manor copy, and he gets a commission from the experience rewards. Therefore, he also has the responsibility to maintain the cycle between dungeons, professionals, and the mall. There is a huge demand for high-quality equipment now, isn't it? Tang Zhu was about to say something, and then he saw the warehouse information map sent by Qinzi. He was stunned and his body was shaking. There are 3,218 pieces of silver-level equipment, 342 pieces of gold level equipment, 73 pieces of platinum level equipment, and 27 pieces of diamond level equipment. Isn't that enough? Qinzi frowned slightly, thinking about whether to go to Li's exchange. Anyway, with the support of Mentor Beatty, as long as there are Li professionals who stop them, they will all be killed. If you don't pay back the installment, you can grab the equipment. Enough, absolutely enough. Tang Zhu trembled. What a terrifying amount of equipment this is, it will definitely drive the neighboring city crazy. And because Qinzi cleared the nightmare copy, the properties of these equipment are much better than those of the same quality. If left in the hands of low-level professionals, the efficiency of killing monsters will be greatly improved. She had already thought of the transaction method, which was equipment leasing. These equipment are too expensive and ordinary professionals cannot afford them. Silver-level equipment costs 500,000 apiece. Gold-level equipment costs 5 million apiece. Platinum-level equipment costs 10 million apiece. Diamond-level equipment costs 50 million apiece. Do you think this price is acceptable? Tang Zhu suppressed. Controlling the excitement in his heart, he asked. Linhai City's finances will certainly be unable to bear such a large amount of money, but they can apply to the higher authorities. She believed that after seeing the properties of these equipment, she would immediately decide to buy them. Because the price is already very cheap, if you sell them one by one at the auction house, the price will probably double, which is more time-consuming. Sure, Qinzi's eyes lit up. The small treasury is about to be filled up now. Brother Qinzi, I actually suggest that you exchange all the money you have for gold-level equipment and above into the contribution of the Central District. If your contribution is high, you can enjoy the benefits of the Central District and buy some ultra-rare props in the internal mall, or redeem some A-level resource packs. Tang Zhu said again, is there a skill book for the Undead system? Of course, there are all the skill chains of the Noble Route, or single skills with strange effects, as long as they can make enough contributions. Okay, I listen to you. All silver-level equipment will be converted into money, and the rest will be converted into central area contribution points. Qinzi nodded. He would have to go to the Central District sooner or later, so he might as well get a basic idea first. That's great, I'll get it done for you right away. Due to some process issues, it may be slower. It doesn't matter, I won't be able to go to the Central District in the near future. Qinzi said casually. I'd better get rid of the main dungeon in Linhai City first. If Linhai City becomes a restricted area of life, then all our efforts will be in vain. Brother Qinzi, I don't know if you have felt it. When you passed the first stage, there were fewer black lightnings in Linhai City. This proves that you are robbing Li Xinggang of control of the main dungeon. The other party may counterattack because of this, so you have to be careful. Understood. After disposing of all the miscellaneous equipment on his body, a large military truck slowly drove into the community. There was also a kind of military professional escorting him. As the battle so big, people in the whole community are trembling. After Qinzi handed over to the military professionals, he opened the back door of the military truck. Gorgeous safes are placed in rows among them. There is also a card table that Qinzi is familiar with in the middle, where multiple skill books can be placed. This is the Undead skill chain of the disease system. Mentor. A large military truck with an exaggerated shape slowly drove into a residential area. The truck's armor is magic resistant and is made from granite giants that are naturally resistant to magic. It can resist high-level fire meteors and perfectly protect the goods inside. Military professionals followed closely to protect him in all directions. Ordinary people have never seen such scenes. The neighbors' uncles and aunts stuck their heads out of the windows and looked at it curiously. Mr. Qinzi, please sign your express delivery order. The powerful voice sounded, instantly making Qinzi feel a little stunned. The summoner of the undead, who is in charge of life and death, has some social fears. That's normal, right? After signing quickly, the back compartment of the big truck opened, and white air conditioning overflowed with a hiss. On both sides are military green equipment safes, and in the middle are disease-related undead skills. Black mist filled the surroundings, giving people a bad feeling. Do you have door-to-door delivery service? Qinzi looked at these big boxes and asked. The person in charge's expression froze, and then he shook his head repeatedly. They wouldn't dare touch the things belonging to the undead summoner even if they had 100 courages. If you accidentally contaminate something, your death will be extremely miserable. Okay, in that case, I can summon a few skeletons. Skeleton, that's okay. The person in charge nodded slightly. Although the skeleton looks a little scary, it's actually pretty good. But soon his body froze and he was shaking. His head moved up tremblingly, with a look of fear in his eyes. This skeleton is different from what he thought. The kingdom of bones. Chin-Zi snapped his fingers. Countless arm bones and thigh bones appeared intertwined with each other, eventually forming a stepped white bone building. Countless skeleton hands poked out from it, and then scratched wildly in the surrounding air, as if they wanted to catch some flesh and blood. The surrounding military professionals looked horrified and took 5 steps back, staying far away. Don't be afraid, they are very kind and will not harm anyone casually. The person in charge who retreated silently. Do you think I will believe it? He complained in his heart. At the same time, he felt a little regretful. He would have known better if he had knocked some blood bottles for others to carry. But it also confirms his stereotype. Any undead mage who can take off must be very abnormal. Soon, the skeleton arms grabbed the equipment box in the truck, and then showed a relay to transport it to Chin-Zi's window. The finally extended arms were very long and narrow, and they were carefully sent into the house, put them away, and closed the window. The skeleton transport platform is extremely efficient, and all the equipment can be transported up in less than a minute. The service is very good. If you don't move bricks and build a house, you are really disrespecting your talents. The large military truck transporting equipment left the community as if fleeing. Chin-Zi recovered the bone transport platform, then came to his home and started to open the treasure box. The first is the equipment safe. There are 5 in total: tops, bottoms, weapons, cloaks, and rings. Chin-Zi's entire equipment has fallen behind in level and needs to be replaced. Let me know what kind of equipment the Central District has equipped me with. When he opened the equipment safe, the words, "exclusive for Summoner of the Dead," appeared in front of him, and he was immediately stunned. Ah, the central area is too generous. There is a level 20 Undead Summoner exclusive suit, and it is also diamond level. Chin-Zi slowly took out a skeleton staff made of white bones from the open safe. It is nearly 1 meter long, with a pointed lower part and a fist-sized skull on the upper part. Skeleton staff. Exclusive for Soul Summoner. Level: LV.20. Quality: Diamond grade. Basic attributes: Intelligence +80, Strength +15, Mana +3500. All undead skills are instantaneous, no need to chant. Skill 1. Perfect Bones. Passive skills: all skeletal undead skills will have perfect affixes: bone toughness +150%, bone damage +150%, and bone flexibility +200%. Elemental magic resistance +25%, physical resistance +25%. Skill 2. Bone Wings. Communicate with the power of the undead, spread the wings of bones behind a specific unit, and have the ability to fly freely. The maximum height can reach 3,000 meters, the maximum speed is 10 meters per second, and you can obtain 5,000 shield points. When attacked by the enemy, you can use the meaning of bones to resist. After the shield is exhausted, the bone wings will be automatically destroyed. Consumption of mana, 1,500 points. Duration, damaged, retracted. Skill 3. Life Drain. The bone staff has a draining needle at the end. After penetrating the enemy at close range or hitting the enemy from a long distance, it will drain 100 blood points per second. At the same time, it will recover 100 blood points per second. The maximum number of drains is 3 unit, and causes effects such as imprisonment and paralysis. This skill is interrupted by attack or movement. Mana consumption, 50 points per second. Set effect: Skeleton Staff. Intelligence +10, HP +5000, Mana +2000. Introduction. You will never guess whose bones this is made of. Cowhide Plush. All bones can receive bonuses. The intensity of the Kingdom of Bones has risen to another level. There is also a full 5,500 mana bonus, which alleviates my current mana limit problem. Central District is really heroic, and he really provides the equipment. Of course, it is not ruled out that there will be no one to choose the Undead Summoner. Qin opened the remaining undead suit, and the effect was really good. Skeleton armor, intelligence plus 50, strength plus 50, blood volume plus 3500. The first skill is to automatically add shield, which is refreshed once an hour and reaches 8000 shield points. The second one is the shield detonation, which comes with bone entanglement. The third one is the stun beam, which shoots a dazzling white light from the chest and stuns the enemy for 3 seconds. Set effect. Intelligence plus 10, strength plus 10, HP plus 2000. Skeleton cloak, intelligence plus 45, agility plus 20, strength plus 10, health mana plus 1000. The first skill is Swamp Halo, which slows down surrounding enemies. The second skill is running acceleration. The third skill is bone assist, which means that when running, there are 2 complete bone legs to assist in running, which can increase the speed by 35%. Set effect. Agility plus 10, running speed plus 50%. Skull necklace, intelligence plus 75, mana plus 4000. The first skill, Light of Destruction, consumes 1000 mana, severely damaging the enemy. The second skill, Scapegoat, can summon a skeleton to take its place when attacked, and a cloud of obstructing mist will erupt. The third skill is Stealth Detection, which can reveal hidden professionals monsters around you. Set effect. Intelligence plus 20, mana plus 1000. Skeleton boots, intelligence plus 40, agility plus 40. The first skill is Bone Binding, a skeleton arm stretches out from the soil and grabs the enemy's ankles. The second skill bounces into the air, jumping directly to a height of 10 meters. The third skill is Skeleton Kick, with 5 skeleton legs stretched out to stomp the enemy in a series, causing 5 damage. Set effect. Intelligence plus 10, agility plus 10, speed plus 20. The boots don't even have acceleration skills. Catching the enemy is equivalent to speeding up oneself. It makes sense. Skeleton suit effect, effective. Why do I look so much like the villain boss? Speechless. Qin stood in front of a mirror that was as tall as one person, looking back and forth at himself. The cape is made of white ribs, with a spine in the middle and 2 rows of ribs on either side. The spine is not human by visual inspection. There is cartilage between the bones to rotate. The white bone armor is even more unique. Countless hands grasp each other's bones to form the armor, and it can be broken by pressing the fingers hard. To be honest, it was a bit daunting at first, but once you get used to it, it's quite comfortable. Wind and fireproof. It keeps warm and dissipates heat, and also has a fluffy, shit feeling under your feet. Qin thought for a while, then took out his phone and took a selfie and sent it to his mentor by D. Qin, thank you, mentor. I like the new suit very much. I have put it on now. When I clear the main dungeon in Linhai City, I will follow your footsteps. After a few seconds, by D. I copied it, what the hell? Qin, dear tutor, is this appropriate to say about your student? Later, Qin sent another selfie to the teen group chat. In the same few seconds, all the people were blown up. Liu Yang, my righteous stepfather, are you going to visit the grave? Why are you dressed in white? Liu Yang, no, those are bones. Brother, what have you been through in the past 2 days? I just slept. How did you become like this? You couldn't have been snatched away by that undead, right? Give me my righteousness, father is back. Liu Yang, angry.jpg. Sun Yunlong, I just put my child to sleep, but as soon as I turned on my phone, I was so frightened that I cried. Mu Shui, beat the child and stop crying. Sun Yunlong, I'm talking about me. The captain's behavior suddenly scared me to tears. Mu Shui, Liu Yang, brother, please tell me, you won't really be snatched away by the undead, right? Do you want me to call the police for you? Or are you sending this photo to ask us to help call the police? Qin, sorry, this is my new suit, exclusive to the summoner of the undead. It looks like this when I put it on. Liu Yang, my mother, wearing a pile of bones on her body, she is not a summoner of the undead. Muchu, +1, Sun Yunlong, +1. Qin, I have found a way to crack the main dungeon. Everyone will gather at the Black Abyss connection tomorrow morning. We will clear the level directly this time. If you don't want to go, you can inform us in advance. Mu Shui, Could it be that the way to crack the main dungeon is to find the characteristics of the disease? Or is it a special medicine that can be used to overcome the disease? I personally think that a sealed mask can also effectively fight diseases, but it will inevitably be missed during combat. Qin Zi. He. Think about my profession. Lu Yong. Summoner of the Undead, what's wrong? Wait, shit, I remember that there is a virus system in undead magic. Could you be Mu Shui? Don't tell me that you have control over the course of the disease. Sun Yunlong. I don't understand it, but it seems very scary. Qin Zi. Pretty much. The chat group fell into silence immediately, and no one responded for a long time. Qin Zi hadn't finished talking about his business yet, so he had to continue typing. Qin Zi. Lu Yong, Catwoman is in the hospital now. Please communicate with her. If you want to continue participating in the main dungeon, I will reserve a place for her. Lu Yong. Okay brother, but what happened to Catwoman? Qin Zi. Didn't she say that the Jolin organization had skills before? I went with her to get the skills, but the Jolin organization wouldn't let go for a long time, so I took it out myself. The other party turned into a beast and rushed towards me, so I took it out by the way. They were all destroyed. Lu Yong. Mu Shui. Sun Yunlong. Ha, Sun Yunlong. So you destroyed an organization while I was coaxing the children. Qin Zi. Yes, Sun Yunlong. After everything was arranged, I also had a friendly relationship with my instructor. Perfect. However, judging from the reply of the mentor by D, I am afraid that he may not be able to attract many people. Qin Zi solemnly came to the skill placement box, which was covered with black mist. He pressed the start button, and the green running light came on, followed by a chirp of white gas. Thick black mist spread, carrying a sick aura. Cough cough cough. Qin Zi instantly felt itchy in his throat, and he was already showing early symptoms of swallowing a blade when he swallowed saliva. All go, is it so scary? No wonder the person in charge is unwilling to move these boxes up. If you take a breath of black air, you will have to lie down on the bed when you go home. The feeling of weakness surged up from deep inside the body. The name of the skill book made his eyes darken. Black Death Spread Technique. Introduction. Plant the nucleus of the Black Death into the body, feel with your heart how the Black Death breaks out, how it destroys your own body, and fixes yourself in the boundary between life and death. At the same time, you can master all the mechanisms of the Black Death and learn about it. Creating a connection can control the disease process and the number of infections. This ability is 50% effective against other diseases. Anyone who gets this disease, regardless of ordinary monsters, elite monsters boss, will die in 3 days if there is no treatment. Note: Black silkworm disease is not effective against non-biological units. Qin Zi. So, I'm going to die in 3 days. No wonder all the necromancy mages are in a sick and dying state. Black Death Spread Technique. Learning. The feeling of illness entering the body is strong. First I couldn't breathe, then I felt a fever all over my body and my throat was dry and itchy. Qin Zi held back and silently waited for the upgrade of the Black Death Spread Technique. Black Death Spread Technique. Right pointing arrow continuously upgrading right pointing arrow. Black Death Taboo Technique. Black Death Taboo. Introduction. After continuous struggle and research against the Black Death, you have completely digested the core of the Black Death, and have mastered and understood all the principles of the Black Death. You can control any virus particles as you wish, and you can easily cure any infected person. They are like harmless little sheep to you, but when you give the command, they are also deadly killers, and are 75% effective against other diseases. Under normal circumstances, if no treatment is taken after infection, death will occur within 3 days. You can order the disease to break out in advance and kill you in 1 day. Qin Zi. He was silent for a long time. Very evil, but also very righteous. After all, harming others and saving others are just a matter of thought. Such evil. To put it bluntly, this skill is more of knowledge than skill. Contains all pathology and research of the Black Death. He had 100% control over the Black Death, and no one could compete with him on this disease. As for other diseases, he can control 75%, which means that within this number, he can also control the opponent. Can the Holy Royal Family be more than 75% effective against so-called ancient diseases? If it can be surpassed, General Black Sun's path of divine transformation will not fail. Holy royal family, ancient disease. It's time to give them a little shock. It was so dangerous, I almost got killed by the Black Death. Looking at it this way, even necromancers don't live long. No wonder in the video, all the 30-year-olds have corpse spots on their faces, and the 40-year-olds look like they just crawled out of the grave. Are there any 50-year-old undead professionals still alive? Qinzi tilted his head and thought for a moment, it seemed like not. He looked at his face in the mirror. The pale complexion gradually returned to color, and the sunken eye sockets also began to recover. The vigorous young man a few minutes ago returned again. The eyes are bright and the beauty is rich. Not bad, very good. Qinzi raised his right hand, and the smoke composed of black particles was swaying in his palm. This is the Black Death. And with this dose in his hand, he could poison the entire city without any problem. If you scatter a few particles, the entire community will be put out of business. It will happen in 3 days. I'm knocking, I'm so special and evil. Qinzi immediately closed his right hand and took back all the black particles without leaving any. The thought of, let's try it, came to his mind just now. As we all know, the more you don't think about something, the more your brain will emphasize, you want it. There are 4 skills left, all of which are used to assist Black Death spread technique. Black Death Crow. Introduction. Summoning crows infected with the Black Death will suicidally attack the enemy and cause the spread of the Black Death. Black Death Crows right pointing arrow continuously upgrading right pointing arrow pandemic black crows. Plague spreading black crows. Summon thousands of crows that are fused with the core of the Black Death. The bird body and the Black Death have reached a perfect symbiotic relationship. The Black Death gives the crows power. The higher the concentration, the greater the bonus of the crows. Strong, 1,000 crows flock size bonus, strength plus 1,000, agility plus 10,000, and comes with the sprint ability of Black Death Explosion. Cause awareness right pointing arrow continuously upgrading right pointing arrow deconstruction and reorganization. Deconstruction and reorganization. Perceive all Black Death pathogens, and can dismantle them and their hosts into microscopic elements, and reorganize them according to the will of the Black Death controller. If they meet the biological characteristics, they will succeed. If they do not, the recombination will fail. Black Death Invasion right pointing arrow continued to upgrade right pointing arrow Black Death Condensing Explosive Spear. Black Death Condensation Spear. A certain concentration of Black Death particles and undead power are mixed and condensed into a spear. The shape is determined by the user's will. It causes 100,000 points of Black Death blow to the enemy, ignoring physical defense, ignoring magic defense, and ignoring physics. Immunity, ignores magic immunity, and causes the opponent to enter the late stage of the Black Death. I'll knock it, it's so evil and powerful. You are so strong, why do I feel so cold in my heart? There is one last skill. Black Death Outbreak right pointing arrow continuously upgrading right pointing arrow Black Death Destruction Bomb. Black Death Destruction Bomb. Triggers the Black Death riot in the enemy's body, and reacts jointly with the target's body, exploding all remaining blood, causing a big explosion within a 3*3 range, with explosion damage 75,000, which can destroy a fortress collapse and cause persistent widespread infection. Qinzi. Even the person in charge was frightened when he saw it. It's a good risk. Fortunately, I have the ability to upgrade my skills. Otherwise, I'm afraid it would backfire. In this way, the nightmare level mainline copy will be much more confident. The black lightning over Linhai City is still twisting. Qinzi sat in the car and felt that the black lightning was no longer so scary. After all, with just a wave of his hand, he could turn this city into a restricted area for life. Just when he was lost in thought, the 20-meter-high black abyss link vortex appeared in front of him. Because Qinzi successfully passed the first stage, there were many more professionals here, probably hoping to try their luck. They immediately became excited when they saw Qinzi. Look, it's the great god Qinzi. Yeah, I'm so excited, ying ying ying. Can I get an autograph from him? Quote. Qinzi's ears twitched. Fortunately, the woman didn't come over to ask for an autograph. His handwriting looked like it was pecked by a chicken. If she insisted on signing it, she would have to give her a bone as a souvenir. Hi, Here, Liu Yong waved excitedly when he saw Qinzi. Qinzi smiled slightly and strode over. The familiar faces are all there. Sun Yunlong. Hello, Captain, I have brought you some local products. Mu Shui also smiled. Captain, you are here. Catwoman was also here at this time. The hair she had grown before had almost faded, and her two long legs were smooth and straight again. When she saw Qinzi, she said weakly, Captain, I didn't expect to look like this. Quote. What does it look like? Qinzi was stunned. They are using their skills to plot against you and want to keep you, meow. Qinzi waved his hands guiltily. Hey, that's all in the past. Don't bring up the past again. Let's enter the dungeon. The ability to speak human words when seeing people, but also the ability to speak nonsense when seeing ghosts. He hasn't practiced it yet. Whether to enter the nightmare level main dungeon Twilight Plains. Whether. Yes. Entering. Please wait. Liu Yong. Go, go, go. Catwoman. Meow meow meow. Sun Yunlong. My local specialties were left outside. Mu Shui. As his eyes were distorted, the noise in the downtown area filled his ears. The aroma of steamed pasta lingers on your nose. Where are you now? The sense of spatial distortion disappeared around him, and Qinzi saw people coming and going around him. Wearing loose robes, most of their faces are filled with happy smiles. Bobo people. Qinzi was stunned for a moment and then recognized them. At this time, Liu Yang's voice suddenly came from the side. Qinzi, Qinzi, look over there. Bobo people have set up a statue for you. Ha ha ha, it's too funny. No, I want to take a photo and send it to Moments. What? Qinzi looked over blankly, and then saw a 20-meter stone statue standing in the distance. And who is he but that face? The entire stone statue held a sword high, with a blood-boiling look, seeming to be leading the Bobo people to the front line. Qinzi. Suddenly there was a clicking sound from the side, the sound of a flash shutter. Why are you all taking pictures? Mu Shui, you also want to post them to Moments. Mu Shui put away her phone with a smile. No, I want to send it to the family group. At the same time, graveyards of desperate naval battles are still scattered across the sky, but there are no skeletons to leave. 0.50 thousandths. Qinzi waved his hand and took back this skill. The 5 trenches that blocked the sky and sun disappeared, and the sun poured into the city. The Bobo people knelt on the ground in fear and were at a loss. All along, they thought it was something in the sky that was protecting them. You protect yourselves. I have to slow down with this skill. Qinzi was unmoved by Bobo's reaction. At this time, there was a beautiful woman in the distance holding up her skirt and running straight towards Qinzi. His face was full of disbelief and utter joy. Qinzi was stunned when he saw her and murmured. Little Chongchong, how long has it been since we left? Faction mission trigger. Break through the defense line of the Holy Royal Family. Experience reward. 1 million. Reward. Shining level equipment treasure box 1. Special reward. Perfect treasure box 1. Bobo career inheritance meeting camp points conditions. Bobo City. The giant sea tomb that covered the sky disappeared. Countless people in Bobo were so frightened that they knelt down to pray, thinking that God had abandoned them. The Holy Royal Family, who were several kilometers away, also saw this situation, and they all showed excited and ferocious expressions. How many years have passed, the vast ocean trench has been frightening them, and left a deep shadow in their hearts. Finally, the ocean trench disappeared, and now it's their turn again. A beautiful woman about 20 years old was running excitedly with her dress in hand. At first, he was still a little unsure. After looking left and right, he excitedly hugged Qinzi's neck. Big brother, I thought you weren't coming back. Qinzi looked at her in astonishment. The little girl who could be picked up in his arms a few days ago has now grown to a height of 1.7 meters, with a curvy figure and a feminine charm. The other teammates also looked like they had seen a ghost. The time span was too big. Come on, let me show you around our city. Good. At that time, the colonial city was almost destroyed, but the Bobo people rebuilt it again. The streets are tidy, and a sewage system has been installed, so it doesn't stink so much. It has been 10 years since they left. The colonial city has turned into a city of Bobo people. The annual economic benefits are around thousands of gold coins, and Chinzi can share 10% of the economic benefits, which means he can get 100 gold coins every year. There are about 10 gold coins in some dungeons, and there are indigenous shopping malls, which can be used to buy things and bribes. Sharing city economic penalties, you get 10% gold coins. Obtained. 1027 gold coins. Bang bang, yellow-orange gold coins appeared in the warehouse. Since Big Brother left, we have entered a period of confrontation with the Holy Royal family. After they tried several times to no avail, they retreated to the foot of the mountain. It seemed that they were afraid that we would attack their castle on the top of the mountain, so we gained time to develop, and got in touch with the Bobo people of the Northern Resistance Army. They taught us to train our troops and formulate a defense plan. Quote, PFF'd, how can we Bobo people have the strength to attack them? Xiao Chongchong chuckled, then shook her head mockingly. So you're in charge of the city now? In charge? No, I'm the chief administrative officer of the city now. The village chief was the last chief administrative officer. After he left, I took over his position. Fortunately, the whole city did not decline because of me, but became prosperous. Xiao Chongchong raised her head as she spoke. A childish attitude of waiting for praise from parents. Well done, Chinzi said with a smile, and then touched her head habitually. Hee. Xiao Chongchong smiled contentedly. I'm here to help you eradicate the fortress on the mountain and restore peace to this area. If you want to live a good life, you have to work hard on your own. Do you understand? Eradicate the fortress. Xiao Chongchong's eyes brightened instantly. She had no doubt at all. If her elder brother said she could do it, she would definitely do it. Excited, she stepped forward and pecked Chinzi on the cheek. Brother, you marry, it's so cool. Before Xiao Chongchong could say anything, she felt her lips were numb with coldness, and she couldn't say anything. Chinzi smiled bitterly and touched his cheek, thinking that this was the disadvantage of the undead profession. Xiao Chongchong was suffering from undead paralysis, which was more terrifying than the extreme cold. After reminiscing about old times, Xiao Chongchong covered her mouth and couldn't speak for a long time. She could only take out one box and hand it to Chinzi. Open the box and a prompt will sound. Obtain. Sacred Royal Family Defense Line Distribution Map. Obtain. Antidote 5 can temporarily prevent ancient disease infection. Obtain. Qualification for inheritance of magic body at level 25. You can change jobs, obtain a new job, or you can directly inherit and increase basic attributes. Obtain. Castle structure diagram. Things are quite well prepared. Thanks, let's go. Chinzi waved his hand at Xiao Chongchong, and then nodded slightly to other teammates. Suddenly, Xiao Chongchong took a step forward and said vaguely. According to the intelligence from the front line, there are people who call themselves professionals and come from the same place as you. They have set up a dragnet specifically to target you, Big Brother. A professional from Lee's company. The accounts between us really need to be settled carefully. At the same time, the top floor of the Lee building. The beautiful woman lay motionless on the ground, blood spreading under her body. Li Xingang's face was covered with golden stripes. As the golden light lit up like breathing, the golden light strips spread along the eye sockets and towards the depths of his head. General Black Sun, obey your order. I will take you out. We have advanced medical treatment here that can solve your problem. I will definitely take you out, absolutely, but before that, I have to kill Chinzi first. Quote. Li Xingang stared. His eyeballs were covered with spreading golden lines, converging towards his pupils. There was obviously no one around, but he kept mumbling. You, the lowest level of fools, should always be trampled under my feet. How dare you resist? I want you to watch with your own eyes as your hopes are shattered bit by bit. I will trample you under my feet again. Quote. Death guessing. I, Li Xingang, have laid a killer trap. Chinzi will die within 3 days. Yes, no. When he met this option, he directly lost all his net worth. There are so many zeros that we can't even count them. After doing all this, he stood up unsteadily. General Black Sun, I will always be loyal. A twisted vortex appeared in front of him, and his figure gradually disappeared into it. Only the beautiful woman lying on the ground, lifeless, was left. The blood is still flowing outward. The life and death bet appears directly at the top of Lee's company's official website. He was the first to confuse the employees of Lee's company. Can I still get into this class? Is the boss crazy? Want to create a Chinzi and let the entire company enter? I don't want to lose my job. My loan hasn't been paid off yet. Well, I just voted $1,000 for Chinzi. The odds difference of nearly 1,000 times is so delicious. My mother, the boss is at odds with Chinzi. Is that what it is? Quote. Employees within the company are talking wildly. The two ladies at the front desk were even more excited. The big one is coming. Suddenly, a shadow blocked the light in front of them. The two were stunned for a moment, then looked up and saw a middle-aged man wearing a straight suit and a kind smile standing in front of the counter. There is a calm masculinity. Hello, I'm from the Lee family headquarters and I'm here to inspect the company. The man said politely. The two ladies at the front desk looked at each other and were speechless. What's wrong? Don't you go online? I'm not interested in that stuff. Our boss just gambled away the company. Middle-aged man. Lee building, the glass elevator is rising. People standing inside will feel as if they have the entire city under their feet. Two ladies at the front desk were standing in front, whispering. His eyes occasionally glanced behind him. The middle-aged man stood there meticulously, with a serious expression and full of adult boredom. There was no excessive emotion or desire in his eyes. Ding! The elevator door slowly opens. The two front desk ladies came to the door of the top floor office together, then turned around and said politely. Hello sir, this is our boss's office. Well, he should be in the main dungeon now. I'll try to contact him. You guys open the door first and I'll wait for him inside. The middle-aged man glanced down at his watch, and then said in a tone that left no room for doubt, talk. Oh, the two ladies at the front desk didn't dare to question, they nodded quickly and opened the door. The next second, scarlet liquid came into view, scaring them so much that they hugged each other and screamed. The middle-aged man frowned slightly and strode forward. Someone died. Did he call the young lady and kill him while having fun? The body has been completely cooled. Visual inspection shows that it is a middle-aged woman and not a young lady. There is only one possibility. This person is Li Xingang's wife. Someone assassinated her, or he killed his wife himself. Do you recognize the identity of this body? The middle-aged man inspected the body, then turned to look at the two front desk ladies who were hugging each other and shivering. The next second, he turned the body over. His face had been smashed, and there were large holes in his abdomen and chest, with his internal organs flowing out of them. The two young ladies knelt down and vomited wildly. Li Xingang's wife. The middle-aged man continued to ask. The young lady at the front desk continued to vomit. However, one of them nodded. When the middle-aged man saw this, he sighed immediately, then stood up slowly, took out a handkerchief from his pocket and wiped the blood on his fingers. We are both of the Li family's blood, and it's really shameful to do something like this. If other aristocratic families know about it, they will definitely laugh at us. Linhai City's resources are still very important and cannot be transferred to the government. The middle-aged man stood in front of the floor-to-ceiling window with his hands behind his back, with a sweeping view of the entire city. It seems that the headquarters will have to take over. Call Li Xingang out first. This farce ends here. In Mansion City, Bai Di was lying in front of the conference table board, and placed the waves directly on the table. In front of her was a group of senior people in suits and leather shoes, pointing at PPTs to report on various tasks. One after another, taking turns. The vocabulary was also about GDP, people's livelihood, economy, real estate, etc., which made her doze off. After another half hour, she finally couldn't bear it anymore. I'm just playing a main dungeon, why are you listening to these things? All the senior officials looked at her in astonishment. The mayor of the building is a man wearing glasses, LV.33. He stroked his glasses and said politely, Sir Bai Di, the main story dungeon is highly related to my city's economy. It's not just as simple as clearing customs. Please be patient. After listening, I hope we can work out a response strategy together. You finally came here, and you don't want to come back without success, right? Aha, Bai Di made a desperate voice. She has been sitting here for 3 hours in a meeting. She also wants to have a drink at a famous bar in Mansion City. At this time, a ding-dong sound came from the mobile phone. When Baidi opened it, his eyes widened suddenly, and he burst into laughter. It's interesting for me as a student. They actually forced Lee to bet the entire company. Ha ha ha, I can already imagine the wonderful expressions on those old antiques at Lee's headquarters. Just make a good student of mine, and I will help you as a tutor. Ah ha ha. The senior executives who were in the meeting suddenly looked at Bai Emperor helplessly. Hey, the odds are actually 879, 1. My student's odds are 879 times. This is not possible. As a tutor, you must support your students. Put $1 billion in first. Baidi held his chin in thought, and then clicked on the payment page. Since the amounts involved by professionals are generally very significant, the amount limit has long since been lifted. The building inside is complete. Crash. Countless zeros jumped up. Instantly the entire amount was raised by one digit. You invested $1 billion in it. The mayor of Mansion City was shocked when he saw Baidi's operation. He still knew something about what happened in Linhai City. Tang Zhu even came to him specifically to buy equipment, but he refused. Now he didn't expect that things would develop to this point. Lee's company and the official were completely torn apart. You are so shameless, and now you are putting pressure on the company. Do you think Qin Zi can crack the killer move set by Lee's company? Lee's company has been entrenched in Linhai City for decades and has many hidden tricks. If he can't fight, can't he run? Baidi looked at him in surprise. Don't underestimate me as a student, he's a ghost. My $1 billion is just to support my students, and I have no intention of coming back. Oh, by the way, I'll help you solve the main dungeon problem, so why can't you help my students support themselves? Hurry up, throw $1 billion in, I'm almost dozing off just sitting here. Mayor of Mansion City, I'm sorry, the money in our finances is planned and cannot be used for personal purposes. As for simply supporting this kind of thing, we will never do it. Baidi, Tisk, if you can't help with this little thing, then I won't listen. Let's go have a drink. Baidi seemed to let himself go and jumped directly from the open window. Why, etc. The mayor of the building city and others quickly ran to the window. The height of more than 10 floors was nothing to Baidi. She was already walking on the sidewalk and turned back to show her middle finger. Senior manager of the building city. Once the death betting is opened, it can only be closed by the initiator. Unfortunately, Li Xinggang has disappeared from the main dungeon and is nowhere to be seen. Now Li's company was in chaos, and even the headquarters of the super aristocratic family Li's was furious. I have worked hard to operate in Linhai City for decades, but now everything is blocked. Isn't this child's play? Other super families were watching the joke, and the entertainment media they controlled also added fuel to the fire. Surprise! There was a major chaos within Li's family, and all Li's companies in Linhai City were blocked. Hegemony is on the verge of collapse, and the bottom professionals are resisting. They panic and lose the company in a hurry. Death guess starts. Li's company launches a killing move to encircle and suppress Qin Zi, but is blown away by a palm and becomes a joke. On the rocky beach, boulders of 2 to 3 meters are leaning crookedly. The sentry of the Holy Royal Family rode a reptile and kept swinging around among them. And there is also a big meatball monster. When it is close to the ground, many legs and arms stretch out, and then it is pulled and rolled forward. The skin is gray, giving people a sickly feeling. This was originally a Grand Canyon with a river flowing through the middle, but it seems to have dried up now. Lu Yong looked into the distance and said in a deep voice. It's more than that. Mu Shui looked around and said. There were still lush trees on both sides of the river, but they are gone now. I checked the guide when I went back. The ecology of this canyon is excellent. Many professionals have picked precious herbs, and there are also some wild beasts that can be used to gain experience, but now it's all gone. Look, the mountains ahead are bald, there is no green at all, and you can see the fortress clearly. Catwoman pointed to the castle in front, her voice very excited. It seems that in the past 10 years, the Holy Royal Family's research on ancient diseases has become more and more frenzied, poisoning all creatures on the mountain to death. Qin Zi put his hand on his chin, thinking slightly. I don't know if their research progress has improved. As soon as these words came out, the other 4 people subconsciously touched the antidote in their pockets. It can barely help them resist ancient diseases or relieve them, and the duration is only 5 minutes. This is their life-saving straw. Ahem, foster father, how do you deal with the ancient disease? Let us have some confidence in our hearts. Lu Yong asked nervously. It's simple, fight fire with fire. Old diseases are strong, but mine isn't bad either. After hearing this, the other 4 people looked at each other in confusion, feeling uneasy. While speaking, Qin Zi, who was covered in white bones, was already walking towards the defense line of the Holy Royal Family. Hey, wait a minute, you come back first. Should we be careful about the trap set by Li's company? The 4 of them were stunned when they saw Qin Zi walking out carelessly. Did you agree to take it easy? Lu Yong was stunned for a moment, and then rushed forward, trusting him unconditionally. Let's go, 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 go. If Qin Zi is not worthy of trust, then there will be no one in the world who can be trusted. What am I doubting? He is Qin Zi. Mu Shui also smiled and shook his head, then strode to follow. Catwoman. Meow. Sun Yunlong. Wait for me. But soon, they realized a problem. Qin Zi didn't have any summons, so he just attacked him. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. Enemy attack. When the Holy Royal Family sentry saw someone approaching, they immediately started shouting everywhere. Golden streaks have appeared on the sacred crystals between their eyebrows and spread on their foreheads. This means that they have entered the second stage of divine transformation. With all attributes doubled, the average attributes are around 4,000, and the blood volume is as high as 150,000. It can be said to be a nightmare for professionals. At the same time, Qin Zi noticed that a small team was carrying a big meatball. The information about this big meatball is extremely shocking. Plague meatball. Nightmare disease monster. Level. LV.25. HP. 55,000. Attributes. Strength 532, Agility 671, Intelligence 594. Skill 1. Core of Disease. After a series of horrifying experiments, the Holy Royal Family successfully produced the core of the ancient disease and sealed it in layers of flesh and blood, allowing it to consciously spread the ancient disease. After 7 days, the disease core will be perfectly integrated with flesh and blood. After being cut into slices and eaten, the Holy Royal Family will be one step closer to the path of divine transformation. Skill 2. Self-destruction. The core of the disease inside the plague meatball began to erupt, producing a very strong impact, smashing the body into pulp and collapsing on all surrounding objects, and spreading the disease to the maximum extent. All those who came into direct contact were 100% infected. 80% of those who inhale the gas are infected. Anyone who witnesses all this has a 50% chance of being infected. Introduction. Mixture of humans, cattle, sheep and dogs, how do they do it? When Qin Zi saw the introduction of Big Meatball, he immediately stopped. Even if the disease can be controlled, he doesn't want to be reduced to a pulp. Outsiders, what do you do? The sentry of the Holy Royal Family surrounded Qin Zi's 5 people, and the captain of the sentry shouted sharply. It seems that too much time has passed. Qin Zi picked up the skeleton staff with a smile. You don't even remember me. Who are you? The captain of the Holy Royal Sentry narrowed his eyes and looked at Qin Zi, and even stretched out his hand to scratch his head. The next moment, he suddenly seemed to remember something, and his body suddenly leaned back in fear. He took the reptile's reins with both hands and actually pulled it over. Wait, he is, the Dark Destroyer. My Dishin, run, no, hurry up and report this news to General Black Sun, the Dark Destroyer has appeared again. Why did you show up when I was on patrol? Before Qin Zi took action, the Holy Royal sentries surrounding him were already so frightened that they fell off their feet. He once destroyed an entire holy city by himself and summoned undead skeletons all over the sky, which became the most feared pain in the hearts of the Holy Royal Family. To put it simply, they are afraid of being beaten. Qin Zi touched his nose in embarrassment. Dark Destroyer. Is this the nickname given to him by the Holy Royal Family? It's quite cool. The sentries of the Holy Royal Family were swept by like waves, and they all retreated 5 meters in fright. The other 4 teammates were all dumbfounded. Mu Shui. Ha. Lu Yong. Ha ha ha, they are afraid. They are afraid. Catwoman. I'm not surprised at all, meow. Sun Yunlong. Hey, how does the monster know that I have become stronger? Naturally, Qinzi would not let them escape. The skeleton staff was slightly raised. The kingdom of bones. The aura of the undead instantly spread throughout the space, and the sky became much darker. First, countless skeletal hands stretched out from the soil, accurately grabbed the limbs of the reptiles, and dragged them into the ground. -77,328. -77,623. -78,392. Congratulations, you killed a reptile and gained experience, 700. Congratulations, you killed a reptile and gained experience, 700. The sound of ghosts crying and wolves howling is like purgatory. The sentries of the Holy Royal family fell down one by one in embarrassment, and the skeleton hands began to move their hands up and down. Their defense was high, and they held golden spears in their hands, which swept across the skeletons' hands in panic, making the sound of metal clashing and splashing countless sparks. But these skeleton hands are just an appetizer, and the big deal is yet to come. Under the horrified and desperate eyes of the Holy Royal Guards, skulls burning with fire appeared in the air, their spines connecting them in series. Cackling, horrible laughter sounded from all directions. On the rocky beach in the canyon, countless white bones appear staggered, and the wind blows. The Holy Royal Sentry was wailing and screaming in it, just like purgatory. On the raised boulder 2 kilometers away, the light and shadow were distorting crazily, with 5 figures looming among them. Their movements were so panicked that they were deformed. One of them could not help but curse in a low voice. Shu Laosin, you are an assassin who can't even understand the stealth skills. Dangling back and forth like this, your butt is exposed. Shu Laosin shouted aggrievedly. I'm scared. It's normal to be afraid of causing sustained skill loss. Bullshit. Another female voice shouted angrily. They consume 100 mana, and you also consume 100 mana. What's the difference between you and others? You can't even understand the stealth skills. I've been unlucky for 8 lifetimes. It's useless to have a teammate like you. Not at all. I can't even see any rewards, and I still have to accompany you to do these things. Assassin. You idiot, you were right. Hey, I didn't expect it. I chose an assassin just for the trash. If I can get up, I can make blood, but if I can't get up, I have a stealth skill. What can you do with a ranger archer? Shooting people is like scratching an itch. Scratching. No one has shaved like you. Do you provide bathing services to others? You. The female archer's face turned red instantly, and the little pearls fell. As soon as I wiped it with my hand, another layer of powder was stained on my sleeves. Okay, in order to kill Qinzi this time, the company took out everything from the bottom of the box. And whoever successfully kills him will receive a bonus of 1 billion. The opportunity to become a billionaire is right in front of me, and you're actually arguing with me. The slender young woman interrupted the shouting of the team members. Her name is Sao Lily, LV.27. She has changed her profession to become a mysterious mage, so she has not touched the path of divine transformation. This time she came in purely for money and experience equipment rewards. And she has an A-level talent, savage growth, and all the spells she releases have extremely exaggerated bonuses. At the same time, she is also a professional trained by Lee's company and one of the best mage in Linhai City. Sao Lily's prestige was still high, and the team immediately became quiet. The assassin's stealth skills have also become much more stable. I have notified other professionals in the company. They are rushing here, and they are also bringing a large force of the Holy Royal family. Sao Lily looked at the rows of skulls emerging from the sky. There was no fear in her eyes, but desire. The excitement of playing against it. In her understanding, the battle between mages is to take apart each other's moves and then attack them in the gap between skills. She could see that the white bones and skeletons in the sky looked like summoned objects, but they were actually created by magic. As long as it was a magic spell, she would have the confidence to counterattack it with magic, thus suppressing Qinzi's magic. Why haven't you started summoning yet? Sao Lily couldn't wait any longer and wanted to have a battle with Qinzi. But the opponent's summons were very strong. She had seen videos in which they could deal tens of thousands of damage in one blow, and her fragile body only had 10,000 plus HP, so she couldn't withstand it at all. In response to Qinzi's undead summons, the company took out some equipment props from the bottom of the box. Refresh spell stone. You can erase the mark of the enemy's summons and turn it into your own summons. If the summons is too strong, the refreshed spell stone will explode. Never return realm. Exile enemy summons to the border of nothingness. Broken zone directly kills enemy summons and permanently plunders the opponent's attributes. If it exceeds the upper limit, it will backfire. With so many summons, almost everyone has one, just to deal with Qinzi. If the summoner of the undead has no summons, isn't he just useless? She was hiding here, just waiting for Qinzi to summon the undead, and then use the broken area herself, with a percentage plunder attribute, and get dozens of attributes. That would be really cool. As a result, the opponent never summoned him, but instead used necromancy. Calculating the time, other professionals should be arriving soon. Even if he summons later, the broken area can still be used. Qinzi, let me see your strength. Cao Lily couldn't wait any longer, so she took out her high-level staff and rushed towards the sky full of bones. Team, Captain. Everyone else was stunned. Arcane Magic Rebellion. Cao Lily, wearing a blue magic robe, rushed to the edge of the skeleton array, and then suddenly raised her staff high. The magic wave took her as the center point and spread in all directions. The flaming skull floating in the air and the interconnected vertebrae seemed to be placed upside down. First, the flames in the eye sockets went out, and then the skull shrank back, and the vertebrae trembled and disappeared. In the kingdom of bones, a gap appeared. Qinzi looked over in surprise, not expecting that someone could crack his bone kingdom. Until he saw a woman holding a staff high in the gap, with shining blue gems floating in the air above her head. The other party's professional information also appears. Arcane Mage. It seems interesting. The two looked at each other in the air, and Cao Lily suddenly smiled crookedly. Arcane Missile. She waved her magic wand forward, and 5 blue light clusters were like shooting stars, dragging their long tails and heading straight towards Qinzi. In that case, I will play with you. Qinzi stretched out his hand a little in the air, and several skeleton arms sprang out from the soil, forming a bone shield. When he saw that the arcane missile was about to hit the bone shield, he suddenly turned to the side and went around it. Countless skeleton hands clawed at the air, but they all escaped one by one. Autopilot. As soon as Qinzi complained, 5 arcane missiles hit the 5 people. Boom. White air masses emerged, causing no harm, but all 5 people turned into palm-sized frogs and snakes, fell to the ground, and then crawled on the ground at a very fast speed. In half a second, there were 2 more bangs, and Qinzi and Mushui returned to their original state. The two looked at each other, then looked at the frogs and snakes crawling on the ground. One frog actually had cat ears. When Cao Lily saw Qinzi recover, her pupils shrank suddenly. Then he shook the staff and laid out a secret trap. When the enemy summons the first creature, the secret will take effect and the ownership will be transferred to her. Is this the power of changing jobs? So many tricks. But yes, a mage relies on his diversity of skills. If there are only simple and straightforward attacks and defenses, then the mage will not have any advantage. Qinzi raised his head happily. This Cao Lily's fighting style seems to have opened a new door for him. Cao Lily is stacking arcane spells like crazy. The enemy releases the first spell, counter it. But when she saw Qinzi's eyes, she couldn't help but tremble. He's excited. Don't come here. I'm warning you, you won't get anything good if you come here again. Have you seen the blue crystals on my head? Each one represents an untriggered arcane spell. I can guarantee that if you accidentally trigger it, you will definitely regret it. Cao Lily's delicate body was trembling, but she was making strong threats in her mouth. At the same time, she waved wildly to her teammates behind her. Immediately afterwards, the 4 people hiding in hiding side one after another, emerged from hiding, and then came behind Cao Lily. Their captain, Cao Lily, is one of the top 3 mages in Linhai City. The efficiency of drawing maps may not be as good as other mages, but his ability in single combat is really strong, and his various arcane abilities are hard to guard against. The most important thing is that they just saw with their own eyes the captain Cao Lily destroying the sky-filled skeleton array. This meant that the captain was still capable of fighting, so they stood behind her. The 5 people looked at Qinzi nervously. It was clear that he was just a level 22 undead summoner. But it felt like seeing the nightmare-level final boss. Captain Sao Lily. Level, LV.27, Occupation, Arcane Mage. Member Yang Qing. Level, LV.26, Occupation, Elf Shooter. Member An Yi. Level, LV.26, Occupation, Phantom Thorn. Member Wang Daqiang. Level, LV.25, Occupation, Heavy Warrior. Member Moog. Level, LV.24, Occupation, Bard. I thought you were going to challenge me. Tisk, tisk, it's boring. Qin Zi sighed, and his interest suddenly dropped by half. In his opinion, these are just the stubbornness of the weak. Sao Lily. Singled out. Who the hell can challenge the big boss? In that case, let's make a quick decision. Qin Zi looked at them indifferently, his wings composed of white bones slowly unfolding behind him. This is the wing skeleton of an unknown creature, with sharp moon bones spread out layer by layer, with a cold and strange beauty. The bone wings spread out behind them, and Qin Zi rose into the air, blocking the sunlight above their heads. Those indifferent eyes seemed to be looking at a dead person. None of my arcane spells were triggered. Sao Lily's face turned pale instantly. 10 souls turned into resentful souls, rushed out from Qin Zi's side, and entangled the 5 people below. Elemental Shield. Sao Lily quickly raised her staff, surrounded by a gaseous shield. The resentful soul wrapped around him with a sinister smile, but did not directly collide with the magic defense. Instead, he playfully grabbed Sao Lily's staff. Sao Lily. Ha! Before she could hold on tightly, the staff was swept up into the sky by resentful spirits. The staff flew into the sky, getting further and further away from her. The harsh laughter that filled the sky seemed to be mocking her. Ah, my staff. Sao Lily was stunned. Before the arcane trap was triggered, the staff was gone. She quickly took out another staff from the warehouse, but the attribute effect was much less than the previous one, and the bonus to arcane spells was also much lower. The same goes for others. The cloak of Phantom Thorn and Dark Night was not taken away, but the cloak of illusion was ripped away directly. There was also the heavy shield of the heavily armored warrior, and the resentful spirit couldn't sweep it away, so he took off his helmet by force. The screams of elf shooter Yang Qing came from the side. Her sling-like leather armor was actually taken away. She covered the airport and screamed crazily. Haunted by resentful souls, activated successfully. Obtain. Arcane Staff Diamond Level, Illusion Cloak Diamond Level, Rock Helmet Diamond Level, Song Machine Diamond Level, Elf Leather Armor Diamond Level. 1 piece of Diamond Level equipment is 50 million, and 5 pieces is 250 million. Small profit. Of course, Qin Zi's main purpose of releasing the haunted spirit was not to steal things, but to restore some mana first. Death Raider. Trigger 10. Strength plus 237, Agility plus 109, Intelligence plus 174. Etc. Qin Zi was stunned. He had just killed so many holy royal sentries on the battlefield, but the soul reserve in Huang Quan's right hand was already full. So what are you waiting for? Let's start building it. Army of the Undead, come up to me. Qin Zi spread his bone wings in the air, and 3,000 undead rushed out densely. Sao Lily and the other 5 were very angry because their equipment was robbed. This was something they had worked hard to obtain, and it was unique to their own professions and was difficult to buy. You can hit them, but don't touch their equipment. Until the resentful souls appeared in the sky, their expressions instantly changed. Run, run quickly. If you are surrounded, you are not allowed to strip all your equipment. This special code is more uncomfortable than killing them. As the saying goes, the 8 immortals cross the sea, each showing his magical powers. At this time, it depends on who among the 5 can run faster. As an arcane mage, Sao Lily ran desperately with her short legs, but to no avail. She quickly fell behind the 4 of them, and Phantom turned on the rapid skill and ran the fastest, disappearing in a flash. Wait. She was about to ask her teammates to help her, but before she could finish her words, she heard creepy laughter coming from behind her. Then she felt her ankle being grabbed by something. She immediately lost her center of gravity and fell hard on the ground. The strength of the grip on her ankle did not diminish, and she was dragged directly into the sky. Arcane Missile. Fireball. Refresh the summoning stone. It's not working at all. Sao Lily was a little panicked. Countless resentful souls were rushing towards her, like vultures feasting on their prey in the air. I captured these souls now, so of course they have no effect. Qinzi admired all this with great interest and answered her doubts by the way. Ah, see caught now. At this moment, Sao Lily's head was a little down. Immediately afterwards, she saw the corpses of the holy royal sentries all over the ground, and an ominous premonition suddenly appeared in her heart. The so-called caught now, wouldn't it be their souls? Arcane ritual. Sao Lily was frightened and quickly released her ultimate move. Her eyes were filled with cyan light, and rich magic waves began to surge throughout her body. The long black hair surges upward. She held the magic sphere with both hands and pressed it hard on the nearest resentful soul. Boom! The resentful souls were beaten away. Death Raider, activate. Then, as if Sao Lily had taken medicine, she threw the energy ball in her hand around wildly. Seeing that she could not clear away the resentful souls, she suddenly exploded, and the spell ripples instantly wiped out the resentful souls 10 meters around. Death Rattler, activate, agility +5, health mana recovery 1000 points. Death Rattler, activate, intelligence +5, health mana recovery 1000 points. Yes, you killed 1,000 of my resentful souls. 5,000 more. Qinzi waved his hand slightly, and more resentful souls rushed out densely. Sao Lily floated in the air, and the green light in her eyes began to flash. She was breathing heavily, with a look of pride on her face. As a result, when she turned around, a dense crowd of resentful souls rushed in front of her face. Sao Lily, stab, stab, remove armor. Sao Lily's eyes widened and she looked at the resentful soul in horror. On the twisted and painful face, there were illusory golden crystals carved between the eyebrows. This is the soul of the Holy Royal Family. At this moment, she finally confirmed what Qinzi meant by arresting him now. And my own soul, wouldn't that be? No, the trembling from the deepest part of the soul, the inspiration reaching to the sky. She finally understood the horror of the undead mage. Deep regret overflowed in my heart, and I even wanted to slap myself twice. You said you had nothing to do, why bother with him? Just run when you see the first one. Countless resentful souls clung to her body, and their terrifying sinister laughter almost drowned her. These resentful spirits did not bite her, nor did they launch any attacks. Instead, they stretched out their cold ghost hands and attacked her skin, not sparing every inch, making her feel that her privacy had been violated. But she didn't care so much. She crazily drank the blue medicine and poured it down her throat. Blue numbers are also popping up. +100 +100 +100 +100 +100. To unleash the last trick, Arcane Impact, a full 3000 mana was needed, and hers had already reached the bottom. Drink the first bottle of blue medicine to restore 1000 blue pills. She quickly took out the second bottle of blue medicine. As soon as she unscrewed the bottle cap, her right ankle was grabbed and hung upside down in the air without any defense. The blue bottle in her hand also fell in panic and fell to the ground. It shattered and splashed into large crystal blue water splashes. Countless resentful souls rotated crazily against her, forming a small black tornado. Sao Lily was completely submerged in it and couldn't see anything, except that her equipment was constantly being sent out. First came the white over-the-knee boots, which were held up surrounded by 5 resentful spirits. Elemental magic boots, diamond level. Nice equipment. But why does it smell sour? How long did you wear this? Qinzi pinched the corner of the boot with some disgust and threw it into the warehouse. Anyway, small treasury plus 50 million. Immediately, various equipments were sent out one after another: arcane pants, mage leather armor, magic explosive cloak. I'm a C cup. Did you get this for me? The corner of Qinzi's mouth twitched slightly, and then he threw it back casually. If you can't sell it for money, it's of no use. After Sao Lily was done with it, the other 4 team members naturally couldn't let it go. No matter how fast they ran, they would definitely not be able to outrun the resentful spirits flying in the air. 5,000 per person, 20,000 in total, give them enough respect. Soon, Moog, the slowest running bard, screamed and was grabbed by a resentful spirit by the ankle, and then hung upside down into the air. Countless resentful spirits rushed up and began to frantically remove their armor, one by one. He brought the warm diamond-grade equipment to Qinzi. Is it because of the wet nurse? The other two people also swept up into the sky one after another and began to unload their equipment frantically. Soon, Chinzi received a lot of diamond-level equipment. Although it was secondhand, it was also very valuable. Is this the kind of thing that haunted souls do? I thought it was sustained damage. Chinzi looked at the equipment that had been removed from the warehouse and felt extremely emotional. Etc. Chinzi's expression suddenly became strange. Could these resentful spirits be influenced by me? He was going to attack and kill viciously, but ended up snatching people's equipment and running away. If you think about it this way, if he himself becomes a resentful spirit, he will definitely not bite or anything but first steal the equipment. Now a new question arises. How much influence does an individual have on skills? There are hundreds of millions of mages in the world. Does everyone release the same fireball spell? No, it's definitely different. Chinzi's eyes suddenly widened. He felt as if he had touched something, but it was vague. It seems like it hasn't been touched yet. This feeling is like 100 ants crawling around my heart, itching very much. At this time, the first black tornado composed of resentful souls suddenly dispersed. The naked Sao Lily fell heavily to the ground. The resentful soul returned to Huang Quan's right hand and became a soul reserve. Not killed, Chinzi stretched out his skull staff, and several ring-shaped ribs immediately appeared from the ground. And it penetrated Sao Lily's body, splattering countless blood. No matter what, you have to gain experience. Congratulations, you killed the arcane mage Sao Lily, dropped experience, 30,000, dropped props, refresh summoning stone. There are still a lot of experience points given by professionals. Well, refresh the summoning stone. Chinzi was stunned when he saw this. After checking the introduction of the props, he immediately smiled. No wonder Sao Lily has been on defense, it turns out she is waiting here. This thing is better than nothing to me. Just sell it after you take it out. After all, after he kills the enemy, he can use the soul and bones, which are even stronger than his original summons. Yellow Quan's right hand. As usual, he extracted Sao Lily's soul and threw it into the soul reserve. But, when he saw Sao Lily's soul sitting up from the broken body, his confused and numb expression shocked his heart. The feeling I had just now became stronger in an instant. 100 people, 100 hamlets. There are no two identical leaves in the world. Single quote. Even professionals with the same skills and the same level will be released differently. Only when you have your own unique style can you be called a genius. Perhaps, I can embark on a path that is unique to me. Chinzi realized something. Even if the world of the dead and the kingdom of bones exist, they will not exist in the dimension of the human world. No one can see their whole picture, even the necromancers can only get a glimpse of them. If not, then I will create a kingdom of bones. Be the only one in this world. This is a road that has not been traveled before, or in other words, all necromancers are taking this road. But they died too quickly. A 30-year-old necromancer can already be called an elderly mage, and a 40-year-old necromancer can almost be called a birthday boy. They have just explored the corner of the glacier in the world of the undead, and they are already there. It's up to me to see the real world. Chinzi stretched out his skull staff and pointed it at Sao Lily's soul. Countless white bones emerged from all directions and filled her soul. There were hundreds of ribs alone, densely arranged from top to bottom. The arcane crystals were rearranged. Condensed on her skull, the arcane staff was thrown to her again. I am. Sao Lily opened her skull mouth wide, and her eye sockets with green light appeared in shock. Death, or loyalty to me? Chinzi looked at her condescendingly, his eyes seemed to have endless majesty. The skeleton Sao Lily transformed into shivered, thinking she saw a god. She fell to her knees suddenly, her teeth chattering. I am willing to be loyal. Chinzi nodded slightly. He didn't expect Sao Lily to bring him much combat power after transforming into a skeleton. But this is the first human creature he transformed in the Kingdom of Bones. This will be the anchor for his creation. The Kingdom of Bones was just a skill. If someone uses the forgotten skill item on him, he will lose the right to use the Kingdom of Bones. But, the Kingdom of Bones he created will belong to him alone. Chapter 91. The real world of the undead is too mysterious for humans. That is the kingdom of the dead, a higher dimension than the human world. People will feel frightened just thinking about it in their minds. The only goal of all necromancers is to get closer to the world of the undead, see more things in this mysterious dimension, and explore the truest mysteries hovering above the heads of the world. At the same time, there is a very clear boundary. As long as you step over it, your old body can regain the vitality of a young man, and your panic and fear can regain peace and confidence. At this time, you can already touch the real world of the undead. That place that scares the world. That is no longer skill strength, but dimension level crushing. This is both temptation and poison for a super family. As long as they cultivate family children who have crossed this limit, then this super family can easily crush other forces, even the entire Blue Star, Eagle Sauce Federation, Dai Yuguo, Shaori the country and so on are all little Kurami. If they don't accept it, they will be thrown in by a big dick. Every one of them made no sound. Qinzi was actually very curious about the road to the world of the undead that he was about to embark on. He searched a lot of relevant information at home and found that 1% of the undead mages were already 40 years old, most of them were trained by super aristocratic families, and the remaining 99% of people are already dead at the age of 20, squeezed dry, and die miserably. At that time, he realized that something was wrong. Everyone who chose the undead mage would not end well. Compared to a 100-year-old warrior who is still alive and kicking, it's really a world away. There is also a natural mage who specializes in studying the power of life, and he has been thrown to an unknown place. But, after careful searching, he finally found relevant content on Tieba. Among the necromancers who have crossed the line, one has really succeeded, named Yinzuju, LV.60. There was a huge uproar and a big discussion started in the Dragon Kingdom. Some people were afraid of causing a natural disaster of the undead and leading to the destruction of the country. Some were so excited that they annihilated the Yingzhong Alliance, Shaori Kingdom, etc. in a crazy manner. For necromancers of this level, it was just a matter of waving their hands. The undead in the sky would reduce them to a dead zone. And he was originally a member of the super aristocratic family, the Wang family. The Wang family was so happy at the time that they issued an announcement asking the other 4 super aristocratic families and the government to surrender and give in. Then Yinzuju disappeared, and no one knew where he was going. It is precisely because of this incident that the Wang family, a super family, plummeted and became a laughingstock. At the same time, its strength also fell from the first to the bottom. Until now, the whereabouts of Yinzuju remain a mystery. Some people said that he entered the deepest part of the Black Abyss dungeon, while others said that such an existence was not allowed in the human world, so they took him away. Everyone has their own opinions and reasons. Some very high-ranking people must know the truth. Master, I am willing to surrender. I don't want to die. Sao Lily was kneeling on the ground. Her body was very long and consisted of dense rings of white ribs. Very well, you can stay in my kingdom of bones. I hope I can use this as a foundation to build my own path. The kingdom of bones is now an introduction to skills. If you use the consciousness of people like Sao Lily, you may be able to construct a fixed and own domain. At the same time, several black storms around them also dispersed one after another. The naked man fell to the ground. Qinzi stretched out his hand and held it in the void. Countless white ribs sprang out one after another, enveloped them, and then shrank suddenly. Blood and minced meat splashed everywhere like exploding pulp. Human beings are really vulnerable without armor. Congratulations, you killed the elf shooter Yongqing, experience dropped, 27,000, prop dropped, agility stone. Congratulations, you killed Phantom Thorn Dark Knight, experience dropped, 28,000, item dropped, hidden scroll. Congratulations, you killed the heavily armored warrior Wang Daqiang, experience dropped, 26,500, prop dropped, reincarnation desperate situation. Congratulations, you killed the bard Moog, experience dropped, 25,000, props dropped, broken area. You have been upgraded to LV.23, all attributes +2, free attributes +6, blood volume +1000, mana volume +500. The experience dropped by professionals is still very objective. Killing a small team will give you 100,000 plus experience points. Please come to more professionals like this, thank you. You can change jobs at level 25 and accept inheritance. This time it is naturally the inheritance of the Bobo people's magic body to solve the problem of the upper limit of mana. It's best to reach a point where you can never use it up. A job transfer at level 25 and a job transfer at level 40 can be regarded as raising one's own dimension, getting closer to the world of the undead, and gaining more secrets. The so-called limit of the necromancer is the second transfer at level 40. If you can cross it, it will be a new world. If you don't cross it, you can only watch yourself get sick and die. Certainly, even if Qinzi has not crossed that boundary, the unlimited upgrade of his skills can help him avoid disease infection and undead backlash. To put it bluntly, skills are in-depth knowledge about career exploration. If any skill is improved to the extreme, you can always get a glimpse of professional knowledge. At this moment, a panicked cry suddenly came from not far away. Dark Destroyer, he killed all the sentries. Even the outsiders from the same place were not spared. God, he is a devil. What kind of purgatory is this? Bones and flesh mixed together. I'm going to have nightmares for a week. Retreat quickly. The Dark Destroyer is looking towards us. Quote. With the bone wings stretched out behind his back, Qinzi looked from a distance towards the rushing army of the Holy Royal family. With just one look, the other party threw away his armor and ran away. Even the less intelligent reptiles were scared to death. Some people were even trampled to death. Qinzi. Is this a nightmare level mainline copy? Is it okay to run away when you see me? Speechless. However, the whole mountain is so big, where can they go? Jia. Qinzi slowly fell from the sky. Mu Shui subconsciously took a step back and swallowed nervously. To be honest, the moment the bone wings unfolded behind Qinzi, her instinct was frantically urging her to escape. For a moment, she felt that Qinzi was no longer a human being, but the god of death who had come to the world to harvest life. Are you afraid of me too? Qinzi was surprised. My reason tells me that you are safe, but I am physically scared. Mu Shui said with a wry smile. Just tell me, I almost peed just now. Qinzi. Is this still the cold and taciturn Mu Shui? It seems like some kind of seal has been broken. What made him even more speechless was that Lu Yang, Catwoman and Sun Yunlong were still in the state of little frogs and little snakes, jumping around on the ground, their eyes showing clear stupidity. Sao Lily, help them untie them. Okay. Sao Lily, who had turned into a strange skeleton, began to wave the staff in her hand. Bang bang bang. 3 streaks of white energy emerged, and the 3 of them returned to their original state. Lu Yang sat on the ground confused. What just happened? The other 2 people also looked at each other. Mu Shui. It's better not to know. The ignorant are fearless. Actually, she lied about something. That is, she really peed. The souls of the dead dispersed and the bones were recovered. The long-lost sunshine shines on the rocky beach, but it cannot drive away the gloomy atmosphere. Lu Yang. I've been upgraded. Finally, it seemed that a team of professionals rushed over and gave it to me. I don't remember anything. I remember the girls there were pretty good looking, but what about the people? Here, where is it? Qinzi pointed to a pool of flesh and blood on the ground, which had no bones and looked like a peeled skin. No matter how good looking a girl is, she will eventually leave in an ugly manner. Life is like this. Everyone will die and leave ugly. Lu Yang raised his head with emotion, as if he had a new understanding of life. Unfortunately, it is of no use. Sun Yunlong scratched his head and stood up. My souvenirs are still outside. I don't know if I can find them when I go out. Catwoman. Meow meow meow. Sleep so comfortably. Mu Shui looked at the 2 people, and several black lines appeared in the back of her head. At this moment, she was a little envious of the weak team members. She fainted immediately after a disagreement, and when she woke up, everything was solved. Compared to the nightmare-level monster, Qinzi's posture of spreading his bone wings is even more terrifying. And most importantly, won't pee. At this time, Qinzi came over with a map of the Holy Royal Clan's defensive line, then pointed at it and said, there is an important road ahead, which is easy to defend and difficult to attack. The large Holy Royal Clan troops that just rushed out seemed to have escaped here. See if there is any other way. When Mu Shui saw him coming over, her breath caught in her breath, and her delicate body trembled uncontrollably. The bad memory struck her again. What's wrong with you? Qinzi looked at her doubtfully. Nothing. Mu Shui pretended to be calm and kept her original appearance as much as possible. Profound. Qin Zi nodded, not feeling strange at all. After all, Mu Shui was originally a cool type of beauty. Still has hidden strength. Lu Yong, let me know, I'm good at reading maps. Hey, there are 2 paths on the side, which seem to go directly to the back of the castle. They seem to be used for delivering goods to the castle. I'm not sure. If you take the trail, you should be able to complete the camp mission. After all, it only talks about breaking through the defense line, but it's not necessary. Kill more monsters and gain experience. What do you think? Lu Yong, it all depends on my adoptive father. Catwoman, meow. Sun Yunlong, me too. Mu Shui, okay. After passing the rocky beach, the hillside ahead was filled with thin black mist. Gives people a bad feeling. He looked like he was going to be sick. Disease. Lu Yong and others immediately became nervous and held the only antidote in their hands. Before they even got close, they felt their heads begin to hurt and their throats became dry and itchy. And a negative state emerged. Ancient disease. The pathogen enters the body through the respiratory tract, spreads throughout the body in 10 minutes, dissolves in the blood, and finally gathers at a specific location between the eyebrows, condensing the host's nutrition and energy here. A parasitic state appears after 1 day, and 10 the energy between the queen's brows will condense into a holy insect, swallow all the cerebrospinal fluid, and successfully crawl out of the host's skull. Host, death, transmission range, 1 meter around the pathogen, death after exceeding. As soon as the negative status of the disease appeared, the expressions of Lu Yong and others changed instantly. This is using your own body to feed insects. In other words, the so-called path of divine transformation is to raise worms in the eyebrows. In the end, was it a human or an insect that successfully transformed? No, how could a professional choose this kind of inheritance? For a time, everyone's hearts were filled with questions. Anyway, the path to divine transformation is weird. Lu Yong, I read that the antidote can help us eliminate the disease in an all-round way, so in order to maximize the elimination of the disease, it is better to use it after 4 or 5 days. Catwoman, ah, my head hurts. It seems like something is crawling in it. Others were also swaying, looking a little unable to bear it. Mu Shui is relatively strong and emits white light around her skin, which can temporarily offset the attack of diseases. Just when everyone was in agony, she saw another scene that she would never forget. Black Death. Qin Zi raised the skull staff and waved it in the air. More concentrated and domineering disease particles are released. The 2 sides collided fiercely, intertwined with each other, and fought and disappeared in silence. From a micro perspective, the fight was very intense. Immediately afterwards, Mu Shui covered her mouth in disbelief, and her legs became weak and trembling. The Black Death released by Qin Zi actually spread out over the ancient diseases. She looked at Qin Zi in disbelief, her fear instinct becoming stronger. Qin Zi can actually control diseases. LV.23, and has not yet changed profession. Is this still a human being? Her legs were shaking crazily and she couldn't stop at all. Soon, Lu Yong and the other 3 recovered from their negative state, looking shocked. They turned their attention to Qin Zi, and the answer was already ready to come out. I just said I have a solution. Lu Yong, but, foster father, why did I suddenly gain a negative buff called the Black Death? Catwoman, me too, meow meow. Sun Yunlong, me too. Qin Zi, you won't die, don't worry, this thing is very toxic. Lu Yong, father, if you say that, I'll be relieved. Mu Shui looked at the extra Black Death in her status bar and was speechless. However, her steps staggered a bit and she soon fell behind the team. Lu Yong, Mu Shui, why are you walking so slowly? It stands to reason that you are stronger than us and your resistance should be higher. I'm fine, Mu Shui said softly. Hey, no, why are your pants wet? There was no puddle just now. After hearing this, Mu Shui shouted reflexively. No way, I just changed my pants. As soon as these words came out, everyone looked at her. Qin Zi, Lu Yong, Catwoman. 3 minutes later, the Holy Royal Family's defensive choke point appeared. There is a steep slope in the middle and cliffs on both sides. They also made the cliffs steeper. Before they even got close, they heard someone shouting from ahead. Quick, 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 Qinzi is coming soon. Shield battle. Move forward. Activate all the rock-solid skills. Don't be afraid of spending mana. The company will compensate you for any losses. Even if you die, the company will pay 10 million as given to your family. What else do you have to fear? One general's success will make 1,000 bones wither. The rangers and mages behind, hurry up and fill in. The skills will start chanting now. Even if Qinzi can't be killed in seconds, it can still slow down his pace and leave enough time for the priest brothers behind to gain blood. Qinzi is the summoner of the undead. Take out all the props for summoning objects. Don't let him summon them. This is his weakness. If he can't summon them, he will die. But if he summons them, we will die. Do you understand? Yes. Qinzi walked forward speechlessly, watching thousands of professionals begin to hurriedly arrange their formations at the intersection. Is this the time to prepare for a boss fight? Can you count me in? He is really the summoner of the undead. Why is the skin better than mine? The white skin is rosy, and the eyes are so bright. I remember that the undead summoners in the video all looked sick and about to die. I don't know, I'm a LV.24 warrior, but why can't I feel that I can't match his muscle mass? I don't know anything else. Look at the holy royal guards next to you. Their legs are shaking. How scared are they? It's true, the reptiles over there are so scared that they pee. Quote. The professional mercenaries hired by Li's company at a high price were all talking in low voices. They have rich experience in killing boss, especially the mainline dungeon boss. Even got some first kills. When it comes to killing boss, they are professionals. But Li's company hired them at a high price, and even though they had nightmare-level main story dungeons, they were actually asked to choose the suspected villain's camp this time. The super boss named General Black Sun was sitting in the back and did not kill them. Instead, they were asked to standing in front to kill an undead summoner. And with the standard of killing the boss, they were immediately unable to hold their nerves. Just a professional, what's the point? One mouthful and one spittle will drown you, okay. However, they also work with money. As long as they give enough money to kill the boss, even if they are allowed to collectively slaughter a pig, they can make the pig die as impressive as the boss. The main thing is to be professional and satisfy customers. At the same time, Li Yuhao LV.15, the young master of the Li family, was furious at the back of the team. He had just come out of prison and immediately wanted to kill Qinzi. When he returned home, he didn't even notice the news of his mother's death. He gathered a group of brothers and rushed to the main dungeon. Especially when he knew that the company was encircling Qinzi, he took the position of commander-in-chief without hesitation. Hurry up, there are still gaps in the defense line here, they must be blocked. You axe warriors, hurry up and get on top of me. And you archers, are you just standing there eating shit? Hurry up and lift the longbow for me, charge up all the arrows and draw them, do you understand? My father has entered the castle. Even if he can't kill Qinzi, he must block Qinzi's steps and help my father complete his transformation to delay time. You idiots, stop chatting and pay attention to me, otherwise we will lose everything. No money will be paid to you. Quote. Li Yuhao sat on the high wooden platform at the back and gave orders vigorously. This made the professional mercenaries very unhappy. They were all cursing in their hearts, but their bodies moved sincerely. After all, they hadn't gotten the money yet. At this time, the unshaven man leaning against the wooden platform exhaled a puff of smoke and chuckled. Haha, what kind of monster can come out of this small Linhai city? We, the hungry wolf mercenaries, have killed the Black Emperor, and the brother of one of the guards beside him. No matter how difficult that thing is to kill, we should kill him anyway. He is the leader of the mercenary group, codenamed Wolf King, LV.29, and is estimated to be about 50 years old. His words had a decisive influence within the mercenary group, and these two sentences spoke to the hearts of the mercenaries. Especially letting the little brat of LV.15 ride on their head made them extremely unhappy. It's okay to let them kill pigs, but it's not right to let pigs ride on their heads. Shut up, Li Yuhao scolded him sternly, not giving the leader of the Wolf King any face at all. The Wolf King's face twitched slightly, then he lowered his head and took a deep breath from the cigarette butt, his expression hidden in the smoke. Qinzi is more powerful than you imagine. He is the undead summoner who has cleared the nightmare dungeon. The holy royal family next to me is so scared that their legs are shaking. Can't you see that? As soon as Li Yuhao said these two sentences, they immediately resonated with the professionals of Li Company. They were the ones who were so scared that they ran away just now. They even had a strong feeling that Qinzi was just wearing human skin and peeling off the skin, but they didn't know what was inside. PFF'd. A big knife suddenly pierced Li Yuhao's abdomen and nailed him to a stake in the back. -100. Teammate protection, bleeding trigger. The high-spirited Lu Yuhao immediately spit out a mouthful of blood, and his face was distorted by the pain. The Wolf King approached expressionlessly. You are too noisy. Don't worry, I will use a blood bottle to hang you alive. Li Yuhao's eyes widened, his lips trembled and he was speechless. A sentence can be vaguely discerned. You will regret this. Regret? What a joke. I, the Wolf King, never do anything I regret. At this time, a scout suddenly ran over and said, Captain, the undead mage named Qinzi is here. Well, let's go ahead and kill people directly. End it early and get the money early, and I will never cooperate with Li's company again next time. Bah, bad luck. What the hell? Quote. Lu Yang. Ah, guess what I saw. Behind me is Li Yuhao, the young master of the Li family, commanding a group of high-level professionals at level 15. It really made me laugh to death. Catwoman. Yeah, look, that man couldn't help it anymore and stabbed Li Yuhao directly. Qinzi was also surprised by this. Young Master Li was released now. According to Tang Zhu, he should not be imprisoned for a year and a half. Could it be that the people from Li's headquarters have arrived and pacified Linhai City in a quick and easy way? Tang Zhu couldn't bear the pressure, so he let Li Yuhao go. The more he thought about it, the more likely it was that the Li family headquarters did not want to give up the resource point of Linhai City, so it took over forcefully. No matter what, let's get rid of the person in front of us first. By the way, try the results of your new understanding. Solid as a rock, heart-to-heart connected, hardened to resist. The shield warriors in the front row were all holding 2-meter-high rectangular shields that looked like security doors, and they were holding them with their shoulders. Earthy brown light overflowed from the shield and gradually connected with the surrounding shields. The damage that will be received is evenly distributed to each shield battle. The professional mercenary group used this trick to defeat many bosses. Tried and tested, very easy to use. They are quite confident about this too. At the same time, arrows and magic energy balls appeared in the sky behind the shield battle. They drew an arc in the air, and all of them hit Qinzi. Even if the damage caused by one arrow is not high, hundreds or thousands of them stacked up will be very terrifying. It can even produce a terrifying output of 10,000 blood per second. It's over. The Wolf King looked at Qinzi under the arrow and said calmly. The health of professionals is very low, no one can resist this kind of attack. At this time, Qinzi raised the skull staff in his hand. The Kingdom of Bones. The bone building created by him slowly rose. It was a skeleton of Sao Lily surrounded by dense ribs, holding an arcane staff in his hand. But underneath her, layers of skulls were surrounding her, pushing her high into the sky. Amid countless stunned gazes, Qinzi smiled slightly and said, I named it Arcane Skeleton Mage Tower. Countless skulls quickly emerged from the ground, pushing the skeleton Sao Lily upwards. This is Qinzi's creative creation of the Kingdom of Bones with Sao Lily as the anchor. With the soul of the professional as the anchor and the bones as the supplement, connect to reality. He will create his own Kingdom of Bones. And this is the first step. Facing the fierce arrows and magic energy bombs coming from the sky. Sao Lily's skeleton raised the arcane staff. Arcane magic counter. The densely arranged skulls on the base of the tower all have their majestic teeth open, and their eye sockets are burning with a cold green fire. A strong undead aura rippled out, matching the spell released by Sao Lily. Form an enhanced version of the undead's magic counterattack. Boo hoo hoo. The first arrow shot down entered the realm of undead enhanced magic countermeasures, as if entering a quagmire. The sprint speed was greatly reduced, and when it almost stagnated, the arrow ignited with a faint green fire. The skulls all over the base of the tower flew up one after another, like swarms of insects dancing in the sky. They rattled their teeth, and then bit the stagnant arrows into their mouths. Green flames emerged from their eye sockets, nose holes, teeth, and cochlea, which looked very strong. Then they replaced the flying arrows and flew along the go back the way you came, clash your teeth up and down and bite the archer who shot the arrow. At this moment, all the professional mercenaries widened their eyes in shock. Is this the summoner of the dead? Why is it different from what they have seen? As for the skeleton monster we talked about, what are these skulls flying all over the sky? It's a pity that they have no chance to ask questions. Skulls burning with green ghost fire rushed into the professional mercenary territory, and then found their own archers, chasing their butts and biting them, rattling, the sound of teeth clashing. It sounded crazy and extremely terrifying. And once you bite, you won't let go until half of your butt is bitten off. -1783, soul burning, -300. -1803, soul burning, -300. To be honest, the damage is not very high. After all, this is not Qin-Zi's serious skill, he is just experimenting with his new insights. Discover the beauty of the undead. However, the blood volume of archers is generally between 7,000 and 9,000, and one hit will kill them. The most important thing is, it hurts. The screams immediately made the mages holding staffs behind turn pale. They seemed to have foreseen their own destiny. Unfortunately, there is no reason to take back the magic bullet that is thrown out. Magic bullets that fly slowly fall into the magic counter zone. The base of the skeleton tower became thinner, and a group of skulls were dispatched again, biting the magic bullets that were stagnant in midair and turned into dark green into their teeth. The undead energy transformed by the magic counterattack immediately made them burn, and then they all started to burn. Rushed towards the magicians. Mages don't have the flexibility of ranger archers. They screamed in fear, and then released magic shield plus magic teleportation, 2-second chant. They thought that this would be stable, but they didn't expect that the skull actually chewed a hole in the magic shield, got in forcefully, and bit their thighs tightly without letting go, with its sharp teeth almost drilling into the bones. A scream more pitiful than the archer's sounded. All I can say is that he is worthy of being a magician who needs to sing, and his voice is really loud. The screams from behind became stronger and stronger, and the big brother in the front row who was holding a 2-meter shield suddenly couldn't hold back. No, we are still fighting in front, what are they shouting about? I don't know, our side can still withstand it, but the ranger mage and the others are about to lose it. What are you yelling about? People who don't know think that our mercenary group has never seen the world. Quote. The shield warriors in the front row turned around cursing, and then froze when they saw the skulls flying in the sky. What the hell? The group leader, Wolf King, took a deep breath from the cigarette butt and slowly exhaled it. Looking at the battlefield ahead amid the smoke, his unshaven face showed solemnity. This Qin-Zi is different from the regular undead summoner. Undead summoners usually summon skeleton monsters, and then assign professions to form a skeleton regiment that is both far and near, but this Qin-Zi summons a skeleton that can release arcane magic, and a flying skull. It seems that he has carved out his own career path. Looking at all the geniuses of the past generations, they all do not follow the crowd, and Qin-Zi has also embarked on such a path. This son must not be kept. The Wolf King put out the cigarette on his fingertips, and then raised his hand to make a move. Destroying gun. The black pentagram slowly unfolded, and a black spear fell. Then there was a neighing sound in the darkness, and the black horse with the blue light in its eyes rushed out. The Wolf King turned over and sat on the horse, his cold aura instantly bursting out. His profession is the Dark Knight. He. Li Yuhao, whose mouth was full of blood, suddenly laughed out loud. What do you mean? The Wolf King, wearing a black helmet, turned to look at Li Yuhao. Now, I know how to be afraid. It's too late. Li Yuhao spat out blood and sneered. Afraid of me? Joke. The Wolf King sneered, and then waved back. A mobile team composed of assassins, knights and other professions rushed out immediately. I am the Dark Knight, I don't know what fear is. After saying this, the Wolf King and his men rushed out and stabbed an archer's spear at the skeleton behind his butt. Boom. -2379. The powerful force directly pierced the skull. The Wolf King didn't have any joy. If he couldn't even handle the skull, there would be no need to mess around. Get rid of the skull first and rescue the ranger mage. Front row shield fight, continue to hold on. Yes. Clear. He gave an instruction and ordered people to continue cleaning the skulls. I have to say that Chinzi really surprised him. Summoning these skulls with magic counter properties hamstrung his archers and mages. But that's about it. What kind of waves can a LV.23 level professional make? I'm afraid he must also be having a headache from the shield battle in the front row. It's okay to use tricks, but when it comes to hard power, the gap becomes apparent. But, the next moment, the sudden appearance of an extremely oppressive presence made him want to kneel down and worship. What? The Wolf King was stunned for a moment. The dark horse he stepped off screamed, threw him off, and then ran forward. Unfortunately, your dark horse chose to betray. Quote question mark question mark question mark question mark quote. This was the first time in his life that he heard this reminder. The Wolf King lay on the ground, raised his head tremblingly, and his expression instantly became astonished. A few words came out with trembling lips. Darkness, Queen. Everything suddenly made sense. Wait, how can this LV.23 undead summoner summon a being of this level? The Dark War Horse ran towards the Dark Queen. When it entered Chinzi's kingdom of bones, the flesh and blood on its body was automatically shaved off, leaving only the black skeleton of the horse. When it saw its own appearance, it spun around in astonishment. It seems that my exploration and creation of the kingdom of bones has initially yielded results. It even forms a halo-like effect. Entering my kingdom of bones will automatically fade away the flesh and blood. Continue to cultivate in this way, and then cooperate with skill upgrade capabilities. I can't even imagine what the future will be like. Chinzi was extremely excited. This was his first attempt to create his own undead system. Judging from the effect, it is undoubtedly a success. Next, there is no need to hold back. Dark Queen. As you command, my lord. The Queen of Darkness saluted, and then opened the Queen's long bow in her hand. The dark arrows charged up crazily at the fingertips, and then shot out suddenly. Boom! The shield defense that was once thought to be indestructible was shattered in an instant. He was unable to even scream in countless shield battles and died on the spot. -183,493, infected with darkness, transformed into a skeleton. -185,394, infected with darkness, transformed into a skeleton. -189,249, infected with darkness, transformed into a skeleton. The pitch-black skeleton monster poked out from the corpse and crawled out. Chinzi approached with the Queen of Darkness leisurely. Black smoke emitted from his body, causing symptoms such as bleeding from the 5 orifices, suffocation, and depression wherever it passed. Black Death. Whenever you get infected, you will fall into endless pain and feel your body collapse bit by bit. Well, it would be interesting if I could make Black Death, like Kingdom of Bones, not just limited to skills, but create and fuse it into something of its own. Chinzi looked at the spread of the Black Death, put his hand on his chin, and fell into deep thought. 180,000 damage. The Wolf King fell into despair when he saw the damage. The highest blood volume in shield battle is about 40,000, which is 4.5 times higher. How to play? None of the dungeon bosses are this perverted. So far, he can still accept it. After all, they have summoned the Queen of Darkness, and this level of attack is considered normal. Until the spread of the Black Death, and that thoughtful look. Finally he fell into the abyss of fear. This guy is not a human being. On this day, the Dark Knight felt what fear was. Black smoke filled the air, and it would scratch your throat if you inhaled it. Within a few seconds, blood will gush out of your mouth and nose. Extremely effective. 1,000, 1,000, 1,000, 1,000. The amount of blood is like taking laxatives, and it keeps leaking. What's even more terrifying is that the blood replenishing red medicine bottle and recovery skills are all ineffective. The antidote has some effect, but it cannot last for a few seconds. The blood volume begins to plummet again, and it is accompanied by extremely strong pain, as if all the cells in the body are fighting against the virus. Rout. My whole body hurts and I can't even straighten my waist. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional. Shield fighter, experience drop, 30,000, equipment drop, Earth Shield Platinum level. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional ranger, experience drop, 29,000, equipment drop, agility boots platinum level. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional healing elf, experience dropped, 27,000, equipment dropped, warm short armor platinum level. Killing prompts sounded one after another, and the experience dropped by these professionals was so delicious. It is almost 10 times the size of the Holy Royal Family's guard army. The experience progress bar is also jumping crazily. Unfortunately, it is too difficult to level up at the moment. The progress bar only jumps to 49%, and there is still half of it. No matter how difficult it is to level up, you should be able to level up to level 25 by killing General Black Sun. At that time, you can accept the Bobo people's magical body career inheritance and enjoy the days of massive blue bars. After that, just use skill bombing, there is no need to consider the mana consumption issue. The substantial increase in mana is a qualitative change for Qin. He can also gain some insights into the abilities of the undead and try them without restraint, and even build a more complete and grander bone kingdom. I summon a skeleton kingdom at random, how do I lose? It is generally accepted that the LV.25 level career change is a deeper exploration of the original career. Every professional knows this, but there are too few professionals who can actually do this. Most professionals just mechanically believe that after changing jobs, they can learn more advanced skills, obtain more basic attribute points, or unlock unique elemental magic abilities without thinking about where these powers come from. This is the fate of every professional, trace it back to its source. The killing is still too slow. Spreading the epidemic among the Black Crows. The clear and sweet whispering sound reached the ears of the surrounding professionals, which was undoubtedly the roar of the devil. Also, is it too slow to kill? Listen to this. Is this human talk? It's so murderous. Quack, 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 the ominous Black Crows rushed out from Qin like a swarm of insects. They circled and then rushed towards the mercenary professionals who were far away around them like missiles. Call out. There was a rapid vibration in the air. Don't come here, I'll kill you with my axe. The axe blade warrior holding a giant axe saw a Black Crow charging toward him, and immediately raised the axe, shouting in panic. Jump slash. The mercenary and axe blade warrior's fighting instinct is pretty good. He lifts up his axe and strikes forward. PFF'd. The feeling of hitting him immediately made him ecstatic. I survived. The axe blade warrior was ecstatic, and a sense of accomplishment arose in his heart. There was a time when he was afraid of a mere bird, which he could kill with an axe. But the fear Qin brought to him was too strong, and he subconsciously thought that every summoned object by Qin was abnormally strong. He was so excited that he even wanted to tell other mercenaries. Gods can get hurt, and gods can die. The next moment, he saw that the Black Crow that his axe blade had driven into was still moving. What? He was excited and looked down. The Black Crow on the axe blade opened his dark eyes, and then tilted his head. Boom! The Black Crow exploded directly, and the foul-smelling flesh and blood mixed with black feathers directly confused the axe blade warrior's face. Nemas! The axe blade warrior stepped back and quickly wiped the scraps of flesh from his face. As a result, when I touched it with my hand, I actually touched blood on my hand. That was his blood. An entry also appeared at the same time. Late stage of the Black Death, you are about to die. Axe blade warrior. Before he could react, his eyes blurred and he fell straight to the ground. On his deathbed, he finally understood that the Black Crow was a suicide attack, and that at 1 o'clock he was in the advanced stage of the Black Death. This special code doesn't give you a way to survive. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional, axe blade warrior, experience drop, 30,000, equipment drop, blood blade battle axe platinum level. Bang 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 bang. The surrounding Black Crows exploded one after another, covering people's faces with broken flesh and blood. The mercenary professional could curse angrily at first, but when he saw the negative effect prompt that suddenly appeared on him, he was stunned and fell to the ground. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional clown assassin, experience drop, 27,000, equipment drop, clown red nose platinum level. Congratulations, you killed a mercenary professional sharpshooter, experience drop, 30,000, equipment drop, revolver platinum level. After the Black Crows spreading the disease join the battlefield, the killing effect will indeed increase several times. No matter how far the mercenary professional escapes, he will be gone with one black crow dash. It turns out this is how others contracted the Black Death. It's a little different than my infection. But how do I build on this? If we talk about transforming and innovating the kingdom of bones, the difficulty is 1. So for a disease like the Black Death, the difficulty of transformation and innovation is 100,000, because it already exists in reality and conforms to the logic of reality. It is too difficult to change what is fixed. The Holy Royal Family needs to concentrate the efforts of the entire clan to conduct research, but in the end they fail. Skills carry not only higher damage and changes in power forms, but also a deeper understanding of professional power. My skills can be upgraded once every second. When Black Death is promoted next time, I can master more with relevant knowledge. It will be much easier to carry out the transformation when the time comes. Qin nodded slightly. This kind of thing really cannot be rushed. At this time, he looked up at Li Yuhao, who was stuck on the wooden stake in the distance. Young Master Li, the first time they met, they were sent directly to prison. When we meet for the second time, are we going to send him to his death in person? What a bad fate. Did people from Li's headquarters release you? Qin asked. Ha ha ha, you are really smart. Li Yuhao laughed arrogantly, and then spit out a mouthful of blood. The big shot in Li's headquarters is more powerful than you can imagine. Qin shrugged. No wonder this guy is still so arrogant and insists on speaking hard even when he is about to die. Go to hell, you can't. Can kill me. I'm from the Li family. The young master of the Li family may have never thought that he would die. He was used to being domineering and domineering all the way. Even if he killed someone in the dungeon or even in reality, the Li family company would help him deal with the mess, and he would not have to pay any price in the end. Anyway, Li's company is the local emperor of Linhai City. But now, he discovered that he might actually die. Li's company may not be able to protect him this time. Before he died, he thought, I might as well stay in jail. PFF'd. Blood splashed on the face of the bearded man next to him. The latter didn't even bother to wipe it, and was trembling in fear. You dare to come up here at level 15. Do you want to jump to another level and kill me? When Qin saw Li Yuhao's level, his eyes immediately widened. Congratulations, you killed a professional swordsman, dropped experience, 7,000, dropped equipment, disabling sword gold level. The experience dropped at low levels was not enough, so Qin set his sights on the Dark Knight. The latter suddenly trembled, and liquid flowed out from below. Oh, your level is the highest here. There must be a lot of experience in falling. The Wolf King quickly said, wait a minute, how about we make a deal? I will definitely come up with something that will satisfy you. Let's make a deal, let's talk about it. In the main dungeon of the Central District, Black Emperor, the Holy Royal Family you see is just one of the families under the Empire. In fact, the main quest of each dungeon is a force in the Empire. The choice of camp ultimately determines whether you are a Black Emperor. The Emperor's camp is still the rebel camp, and if you want to participate in the main dungeon in the central area, you need the Black Emperor's permission, the Wolf King said urgently. You will definitely be on the big stage in the Central District in the future. I will help you solve this problem. How about you spare my life? I always thought that the Black Emperor was a nickname, but I didn't expect that there really was a Black Emperor in the main dungeon in the Central District. Wait a minute, you said you need the Black Emperor's permission to enter the main dungeon. Qin looked shocked. There's a lot of information here. First of all, the Black Emperor must know the Black Abyss and the human world, and at the same time have the ability to control this world and resist the Black Abyss. This is a bit scary. If the Black Emperor is made anxious, it is very possible for him to counterattack. Oh, thank you for the information. But, sorry, I already have a mentor from the Central District. She can get the so-called Black Emperor's permission for me, so I don't need you to worry about it. You can just go home happily. This is a key resource. Your mentor can't get it for you unless you pass the test and the contribution reaches the standard. The Wolf King said anxiously, but he choked up mid-sentence. Very well, you realize that these are not problems for me. You can go now. Qin raised his right hand, and the Black Death pathogens gathered at his fingertips, eventually forming a strange black spear. In the Wolf King's desperate eyes, it was sent into his chest with a puff. Immediately afterwards, the black spear blasted out several thin branches, and then suddenly pierced the Wolf King's chest, like a black cactus. -58,239, Black Death Outbreak, Death. Congratulations, you killed the mercenary leader Dark Knight, experience drop, 50,000, equipment drop, Obsidian Spear, Diamond level. 50,000 experience, so happy. No, why don't you bribe me with money? If you give me a lot, maybe I'll be tempted. Qin Zi was very surprised. However, when everyone died, the money was also put into the coffin board. He cast his gaze into the distance. The Holy Royal Guards were hiding far away. When they saw Qin Zi's gaze, they immediately jumped back, looking embarrassed. To be honest, the combat power of the Holy Royal family in the second stage of Holy Transformation is not bad, especially the basic attributes have reached 3000 plus. If you pick one out at random, it will be a boss-level existence in an ordinary copy. The only drawback is that the experience given is too little. The most important thing is that they have some resistance to the Black Death, unlike professionals who bleed directly from their orifices after being infected. Let me see the Thunder Skeleton Clan summoning technique placed on the skill upgrade slot. Calculating the time, it has been 3 days since I put it up, and I haven't done anything about it since then. It has been upgraded after clicking it. Thunder Skeleton Summoning Technique, right pointing arrow, Thunder Skeleton Summoning Technique. Thunder Skeleton King Summoning Technique, the 55.573. Summon one of the 5 Skeleton Kings, the Skeleton King sitting on the Thunder Throne, to fight for you. Mana consumption, 10,000, duration, 1 day. Thunder Skeleton Emperor. He must have a deep understanding of bones, skeletons and the like. If you have time in the future, we must have an in-depth exchange of ideas. Now that the skill has been upgraded, the final step is to hang Ghoul Neck's summoning technique on the skill upgrade slot. After it is promoted, all skills will be promoted to 1 level. Come out, my Thunder Skeleton King. Qin Zi raised the skull staff in his hand, and a circle with a diameter of 10 meters spread out in front of him. It was not a magic circle, but a constant flow of plasma, like boiling and rolling magma. Immediately afterwards, the plasma bulged upwards, and a big skeleton hand flashing with mysterious spells stretched out, and then touched the ground next to it. Who disturbed my plasma bath? Accompanied by an extremely unpleasant sound, a generous skull slowly rose. Plasma flows along its bones and forms muscle-like strips, attached between each bone. The Skeleton Emperor also possesses the plasma hearts that ordinary thunder skeletons possess, but among his hundreds of ribs, there are 5 plasma hearts that pump plasma to all parts of the body one after another. Oh, my lord, please forgive me for my rude words just now. After the Thunder Skeleton Emperor climbed out of the plasma pool, he immediately became more respectful when he saw Qin Zi. Well, you go and get rid of these holy royal families. Understood, my lord. After receiving the order, the Thunder Skeleton Emperor bent his knees slightly, and a large number of arcs of electricity erupted from his legs. Condensed for a moment, then suddenly jumped into the sky. Its feet were stacked together, and it stepped downwards fiercely. War stampede. The Holy Royal Guards were frightened to the ground one by one. They opened their mouths and looked at the sky full of lightning and the skeleton feet wrapped in plasma flesh and blood. Their eyes were full of horror and despair. Boom! The Thunder Skeleton Emperor stepped on the commander of the Holy Royal Guard army, and the latter shattered directly along with the lightning. -136,722, Plasma Tear, -32,842. -332,749, Plasma Tear. -342,854, Plasma Tear. Congratulations, you killed a Holy Royal Guards commander and gained experience, 23,000. Congratulations, you killed a Holy Royal Guard and gained experience, 3,000. Congratulations, you killed a Holy Royal Guard and gained experience, 3,000. Congratulations, you have been upgraded to LV.24, all attributes +2, free attributes +6, blood volume +1000, mana volume +500. Congratulations, the camp mission breaking through the defense line has been completed. Experience reward, 1 million. Reward, Shining Level Equipment Treasure Box 1. Special reward, Perfect Treasure Box 1, Bobo Career Inheritance meeting camp points conditions. There is still one level left before career change and inheritance. Thunder Skeleton King. This set of flesh and blood composed of plasma flowing is really impressive. Not only does it have the beauty of a muscular giant, but the bright blue plasma also erases the ferocious discomfort. With a figure of nearly 15 meters tall, he stood out from the crowd in defense. At the same time, the Thunder Skeleton King also overcomes the shortcomings of the skeleton monster's slow movement. The muscles composed of plasma give it the ability to move like a creature, allowing it to run wantonly on the battlefield and perform horrific war tramples. And it itself also likes this feeling of punching to the flesh. Thunder Skeleton King. Special Monster Root. Level. LV.24 cannot exceed the summoner's level limit. HP. 200,000. Basic Attributes. Strength 5271, Agility 3721, Intelligence 2230. Skill 1. Perfect Plasma Muscles. Exclusive to the Thunder Skeleton family, the Thunder Skeleton King uses the super affinity of the Thunder Skeleton physique to plasma. While the bones can accommodate a large amount of plasma, they can be connected to other holding points to form a set of precise thunder muscle tissue. The Thunder Skeleton King imitates human beings. Create 5 hearts by yourself to perfectly solve the problem of plasma energy circulation. Attribute bonus. Strength plus 2000, Agility plus 3000, Intelligence plus 1000, Damage plus 200%, and comes with plasma decomposition ability, which can cause 30,000 to 50,000 continuous damage to the enemy and cannot be treated. The speed can be accumulated for 1 to 8 seconds and reaches 25 ms, 300 ms. Skill 2. Throne of Thunder. The Thunder Skeleton King sits on the Thunder Throne, enjoys the majestic power of thunder from all directions, provides a steady stream of thunder energy, and has unlimited thunder resurrection capabilities. Chanting for 1 hour can perform ultra-long distance summoning. After successfully summoning the Thunder Throne, all thunder levels will be increased, all thunder bonuses will be increased tenfold, and a thunder strike will be performed on the enemy once per second, causing 100,000 fixed points of thunder damage. Note: the foundation of the Thunder Skeleton clan, losing it equals the destruction of the clan. Skill 3. Fighting Secret Technique. Before the Thunder Skeleton Emperor sat on the Thunder Throne, he was the only outcast in the clan who could not control the thunder. All the skeletons chose to ignore it and let it fend for itself, so it embarked on a difficult path to seek power and succeeded. After returning, he has mastered a set of skeleton fighting secret techniques that no one can defeat. All the skeletons congratulate the Great Skeleton Emperor for ascending to the Throne of Thunder. Including the branch abilities, War Trample, Speed Heavy Attack, Block and Diffuse, and so on. Skill 4. Thunder Summoning. Chanting for 10 seconds, a thunder portal will be drawn, and the 4 Thunder Skeleton Generals will climb out and fight side by side with the Skeleton King. Introduction. This is an inspirational skeleton. Is this such an inspiring skeleton? This time, Shinzi was not moved by the power of the Thunder Skeleton Emperor. But because of its indomitable will, it forcibly carved out a path of its own. Well, it's a bit like me. When we go back late at night, let's have a long talk. 3 people go together, there must be my teacher. Shinzi felt that he could learn a lot from the Thunder Skeleton Emperor. Bursts of lightning erupted not far away, and the battle between the Thunder Skeleton King was coming to an end. No, spare my life, I'm very familiar with this area. I will take you wherever you want to go. The guards of the Holy Royal Family, whose faces were covered in blood, screamed in fear. The Thunder Skull Emperor pressed him down and raised his fist. But because of these words, he was stunned, and then he raised his head and looked at Shinzi. Leading party. I hate those who lead the way the most. Kill them. Boom. The Thunder Skull Emperor didn't hesitate, and punched down with lightning. The bones of the Thunder Royal Family Guardsmen were reduced to pieces. Congratulations, you killed a Holy Royal Guard and gained experience, 7,000. Congratulations, the camp mission is completed. The defensive line of the Holy Royal Family completely collapsed, marking the end of the bloody rule of the Holy Royal Family. The path to divine transformation is not sacred. The path to strength explored from ancient diseases can only fall into the unknown abyss. Before the disaster comes, before that, please end all this and give the Bobo people and other creatures that have suffered annihilation a home. Trigger new camp mission. Kill the final boss General Black Sun. Hidden mission. Prevent the castle from presenting perfect research results to the Black Emperor. Countdown, 1 month. The defensive line was in a mess, with all kinds of broken walls and broken limbs mixed with flesh and blood. A few short flashes of lightning flashed from time to time among the blood-stained mud. It's all over, but not over either. Yellow Quan's right hand. Everything in the world is changing, and countless numb souls have entered the right hand of hell. The soul reserve is rising rapidly, 50,000 50,000ths. The remaining 20 or so souls were all treated as blue pills. Death Raider, activate. Intelligence +5, blood volume, mana recovery 1000 points. Death Raider, activate. Strength +5, blood volume, mana recovery 1000 points. The mana level, which had almost bottomed out, suddenly filled up again. I feel really uncomfortable not being able to release my skills arbitrarily. We must get the Bobo people's inheritance. If you kill General Black Sun, you should be able to reach level 25 and be able to change jobs. At this time, the Queen of Darkness's voice suddenly sounded from the side. My lord, what should I do with this dark bone horse? Qinzi looked at the dark horse with upright bones. The slender neck bones looked quite beautiful. You want to take it back? That's okay too. No, my lord misunderstood. It is originally a clan of darkness. Qinzi immediately understood after hearing this. It turned out that the Queen of Darkness actually had the property of protecting shortcomings. When she saw a creature belonging to the Dark Tribe, she subconsciously wanted to give it a better home. But what to do? Now only the Kingdom of Bones has a better tolerance. Qinzi nodded and stretched out his hand to hold the dark bone horse. The Kingdom of Bones. Countless giant crescent bones emerged from both sides, and then inserted into each other. I didn't plan on doing this. Qinzi was stunned when he saw this. The skill he released, Bone Kingdom, did not take away the dark bone horse as he wanted. Instead, a building similar to a bone bridge appeared. You must know that there is a precedent for Sao Lily's skeleton, which has proven that this trick is feasible, but this time he couldn't be defeated. The dark bone horse was dejected, falling into depression and panic, but when it saw the bone bridge composed of crescent bones in front of it, its eyes suddenly lit up, it looked up to the sky and neighed happily, and then galloped happily with the hoof bones on the bone bridge. Have a great time. It disappears at the end of the bone bridge. I see. Qinzi suddenly realized. The Kingdom of White Bones is connected to the consciousness of the dark bone horse, and it forms the place where the dark bone horse has always been looking forward to, where it can gallop freely. The Kingdom of Bones created by one person's consciousness is just a toy like playing house. But the Kingdom of Bones was created by the will of countless creatures. That's dynasty. This time, he realized it again. Linhai City, on the top floor of Li's company building. The middle-aged man sat at the computer desk with a serious expression, typing words one by one on the keyboard with 2 fingers. At the same time, there was a contract submitted below on his right-hand side. He glanced at it and signed it easily. The inspector of the Li clan, Li Wei, LV.43, is a professional dragon fighter. The result was a mess. He even witnessed the death scene of Li Xingang's wife and the signs of Li Xingang's decline. According to this situation, Li's company would collapse in a few months, so he took over Li's company and began to deal with various matters, including destroying the officially established mall. At this time, the company secretary hurried over and said, Mr. Li, the official mall has lowered the price again. If we lower it again, we will have no profit. What should we do now? Do you need me to emphasize it again? We will always be much cheaper than them, even if we lose money. Li Wei raised his head dissatisfied and looked at the secretary. Understood. The secretary walked out quickly, not forgetting to close the door. My family is very concerned about the dungeon resources in Linhai City. Whether it is the inheritance of the Holy Royal Family or the inheritance of the Bobo people, they are suitable for cultivating related professionals on a large scale. There is also a hidden inheritance among them. The people of our family have discovered that it is very possible. Solve the dungeon dilemma in the central area. I am going to get the hidden inheritance this time. Li Xinggang has brought a lot of benefits to the family. Now his will has sunk and he even killed his wife with his own hands, so I can only sacrifice him. Li Wei finished typing the last character. Then he slowly closed his laptop and walked step by step to the living room. Sacrifice ceremony. He began to sing, and hot sounds continued to come out of his lips. The scarlet pentagram appeared spinning from the bottom of his feet, and then continued to expand with the chanting, just filling the hall. The sofa and coffee table that receive guests seemed to be immersed in some kind of fluid, sinking crookedly into the scarlet pentagram. Soon, the entire room became empty, with various stone pillars rising from the surroundings, dim candlelight lighting up on them, and an outstretched stone claw appearing in the middle. It's like a weird-looking piece of art that can seat people. Li Wei's whole body was glowing with red fighting spirit. When the chanting stopped, he slowly raised his head, his eyes focused on a point in front of him, and there seemed to be something there. He made a thick, deep voice and began to shout, "In the name of my bloodline, I order you, Li Xinggang, to return. The family needs your blood and flesh, give everything you have." Quote. As his voice continued to sound, the space in front of him slowly began to twist and rotate. Finally, a bloody vortex formed. Just where he had just seen, Li Xinggang was inserted into a sharp iron pillar in a weird posture, put on from below, with his feet clasped around his neck, and his hands stretched downwards. His skin was like charcoal. Layers. Li Xinggang's eyes were full of madness and he kept mumbling something. When he saw Li Wei, his body suddenly trembled, and a look of pain appeared on his face. The people from this family. Are finally here. Li Wei looked at him solemnly, and then said lightly, "I am very disappointed in you." I know." Li Xinggang's expression returned to clarity, and the pain that followed made his face distort, but he still could not hide the look of shame. The layout of Li's company was disintegrated, and I couldn't even control the main dungeon. I even fell into it and killed my wife. I have fully taken over Li's company, and I have also pressured you to release your son. From now on, Linhai City will still be ruled by the Li family." Li Wei said meticulously. That's good, that's good." Li Xinggang's painful expression softened a little, and his son should still be able to inherit some of it. "Now I have given you a new mission. If you succeed, you will not only be able to keep your position in Linhai City, but you will even have the opportunity to be accepted into our family in the Central District. Are you willing to sacrifice for your bloodline?" "Really, I am so willing." Li Xinggang raised his head with difficulty. "This family requires you to complete the 3 stages of divine transformation and finally transform into a cocoon." Li Xinggang, could it be that, with the noble blood of the Li family, I think you can get through this difficulty? I will be here to assist you throughout the process, observe your condition, and give you appropriate guidance so that you can complete the final transformation into a cocoon. But, what should Qinzi do? That's what happened to me. Li Xinggang said bitterly. He already has an official mentor from the Central District. I can't touch him, and I don't plan to touch him. Our goal is to obtain hidden inheritance and mass-produce powerful new generation professionals. When the main dungeon ends this time, he will follow after the mentor leaves. Linhai City still belongs to our Li family. But if he's looking for death and bumps into him, don't blame me." Li Xinggang, hidden inheritance. At this time, Li Wei looked at him and suddenly grinned. The Holy Royal family and the Bobo people come from the same origin. Li Xinggang was stunned. I was speechless for a long time. "This is a life crystal, you eat it first." The reason why General Black Sun failed is that the ancient disease was too deeply infected but did not have strong recovery ability, which ultimately led to a state of half-death. I will use life system props to forcefully maintain it for you. This time, we must succeed. Announcement. Li's company professional team, all dead. Announcement. Li's company mercenary professional team, all dead. Announcement. Li's company elite professional team, all dead. Announcement. Qinzi's team successfully broke through the defensive line of the Holy Royal family and received the First Pass reward, First Pass Treasure Box 1. The continuous announcements immediately confused all the professionals. Li Xinggang, who was struggling painfully in the 3rd stage, immediately raised his head. "My son, your son is very good, focus on breaking through the 3rd stage." When Li Wei spoke, his expression did not change. Li Xinggang, "Oh, that's good." But on the internet, one stone stirred up 3 waves, detonating instantly. What, all the professional teams of Li's company were wiped out. This is too exciting, isn't it? They chose the Holy Royal Family Camp, which has an absolute advantage on the battlefield, and they are all dead. Did they mess with something that they shouldn't mess with? The presence. Could this be Qin Zi's doing? If I remember correctly, how could he kill so many professionals in the main dungeon that he only entered at level 20? Who else could it be? Didn't you see the announcement later? Qin Zi's team broke through the defensive line of the Holy Royal Family. He was advancing with great success. The professional team blocked his way. Naturally, he was killed directly. Holy shit, how many teams have been destroyed, the reincarnation of the killer embryo. Killing embryos, I like it so much. The inspector of the Li family announced the arrival of the day. The entire Linhai city was as silent as a cicada, no one dared to say a word. People finally remembered what a behemoth the super aristocratic Li family was. Mayor, the dungeon mall system we just established has completely collapsed. If this continues, we will be knocked back to the previous state and completely lose control of professionals and dungeon resources. I can't beat the opponent at all. The people from the Li family this time are too stable and experienced. There are almost no mistakes in their operations. Every step they take is on the offensive node, which makes people breathless. Mayor, what should I do? This can't go on like this. Quote. At the high-level meeting of Linhai City, all the ministers were chattering. They didn't expect that the people of the Li family were so terrifying and too powerful. After taking over the Li company, he immediately launched an all-round attack on them, leaving no chance to breathe, and was still consolidating. Expand your advantages. Just like a Go master, while constantly eating black stones, he also fills the board with his own white stones. What makes them most uncomfortable is that the opponent's tricks are mediocre, and they can figure them out even if they use their brains a little. But with just such a move, they were beaten to a pulp. Tang Zhu sat on the chair and remained silent. After a long time, she let out a long sigh and said, "You have done a very good job. This world is so unfair. Some people are destined to be brilliant, while others are destined to live a mediocre life. We in the Li family are unable to fight and cannot fight, so we can only accept the final result. We are finished." The ministers who were arguing suddenly fell silent. Although I am not willing to let the many days of hard work go to waste, this is the reality. At this time, kill announcements sounded one after another. What? All the professional team of Li company died. Li's company actually recruited mercenaries. These are a group of murderous and crazy guys. Qin Zi killed them all, very well, and even broke through the defensive line of the Holy Royal Family. Everyone's complexion suddenly became much better. Qin Zi is really awesome. But the haze followed, and the Li family members had arrived. What waves can he create? The best ending is for him to leave Linhai City and go to the central district, while Linhai City remains as it was before. I can only hope that Qin Zi can save himself. Don't die. In Mansion City, Bai Di is standing in the main dungeon, Sea War, Black Abyss Connection. Hanging on her waist was her favorite white sword. Her teammates were standing around, checking equipment and props with serious faces. The main dungeon is very difficult, and professionals of any level may die in it. And this time the dungeon environment is on the sea, so the danger and difficulty level are greatly increased. Hey, my good student actually killed all the professionals in Li's company. Bai Di felt the phone vibrating on his waist, so he took it out and took a look, with a look of joy on his face. These guys also hired mercenary professionals. When we return to the central district, we must ask the Li family for an explanation. They are trying to murder my students. You have to pay. At this time, the black vortex began to accelerate, and the surrounding space began to distort. Bai Di's face condensed, and as the captain, she immediately said in a deep voice, "If you want to enter the main dungeon, Maritime War, it's too late for anyone who wants to withdraw. You are not allowed to take any unauthorized actions after entering. You must obey my orders. Otherwise, a tragic death is none of my business." As soon as these words came out, everyone trembled. The Black Abyss dungeon is always full of dangers. Even if there are high-level professionals, there is a high probability of death. No one is talking. I want to enter. Along with the distortion of space, the salty and cool sea breeze blows in your face. The endless ocean has rough waves. Only the ship plank under your feet is your last resort. Faction mission. Kill the final boss, General Black Sun. Liu Yang, we have finally come to this point. What do you think General Black Sun will look like? Will he be able to control the Black Sun or something and burn us all to death? Catwoman, meow, meow, Black Sun is also a nickname. Do you really think he can control Meow of the Black Sun? I think he is a tough guy wearing black armor, the kind who can punch out a person's brains, for sure. It's a fist-to-flesh fighting style. Mu Shui, how did you guess he was a tough guy? Catwoman, Catwoman doesn't always look like that in the movies. Her muscles are huge and her face looks like it's been cut with a knife. Mu Shui, hiss, what you said makes sense. Anyway, no matter how scary I feel, he can't compare to Qin Zi. He is now the terrifying ceiling in my cognition, and the monster in the video can't compare. Qin Zi, am I that terrible? Mu Shui said confidently. Of course, it's okay now. During the battle just now, it directly gave me a physiological fear reaction. Qin Zi, Liu Yang, Sun Yunlong, what is a physiological reaction? I don't understand. At this time, Qin Zi's voice sounded. Here we are. Everyone's hearts trembled and they all stopped. A place similar to a manor appeared in front of them, and a gate composed of dark metal bars blocked them. Behind the iron gate is a withered garden. The trees and flowers are all dead, and the black branches are scattered everywhere. Deep in the manor, women's screams could be heard from time to time. And a monster-like roar. It seems that General Black Sun is at home today. Qin Zi decided to give this final boss plenty of respect. Come out, my forbidden touch. Come out, my desperate naval battle cemetery. Sacrifice 10 souls, trigger the Death Raider, randomly add 50 attribute points, and replenish mana consumption. Come out, my ghoul necks. The kingdom of bones, the realm expands. Come out, my infected black crows. Sacrifice 10 more souls, the Death Raider is triggered, 50 attributes are randomly added, and mana consumption is replenished. Rumble. The 5-pointed star summoning array appeared one after another, and the ghoul necks crawled out with grinning teeth. The forbidden touch guarded the entrance of the manor. The black crows that spread the disease like a swarm of insects circled in the sky, and the sky was filled with darkness. Summoning the trench, the mermaid skeletons and dreadnought ship skeletons inside are all impatient. As for the Thunder Skull Emperor and the Dark Queen, they have always been with him and have never taken them back. Qin Zi glanced at his army and nodded slightly. 4 teammates, including Liu Yang and Mu Shui, looked shocked. So many terrifying undead summons were dispatched together, it was so shocking. General Black Sun, here I come. Qin Zi gestured forward, and thousands of infected black crows swooped in first. Ghoul Necks waved his claws and split the black iron door into pieces. Rush, bang, the dark iron door broke open from the outside and shattered into countless pieces of debris. The Ghoul Necks crawled out screaming, his 2 big protruding eyes looking for meat to devour. The army of pitch-black skeletons rushed out, their teeth rattling, their empty eye sockets filled with a breathtaking darkness, and the Queen of Darkness with scarlet eyes walked behind, holding the Queen's long bow tightly in her hand, with her fingertips resting on the bowstring. Behind him was Qin Zi, who was walking casually, looking around for the roar coming from the depths of the manor. Who are you, who dared to break into the general's mansion? Don't want to live anymore. The guards of the Holy Royal Family's general mansion appeared and shouted sternly. The sacred spar between their brows looks like a black spider web. This is a sign that the second stage of divine transformation has reached the late stage. If you are determined to enter the castle, you can successfully enter the third stage of divine transformation, but by then your consciousness will lose control and you will completely collapse. Because in the chaos, only General Black Sun could maintain his sanity. Noisy. Qin Zi glanced at them and spoke calmly. A light tap with your fingertips. Destroy them. Before he finished speaking, lightning suddenly exploded in the air, and a huge thing jumped out. Ejection start. Boom, the huge fist struck down with lightning flashing, hammering it directly into the ground. Minus 162,389, plasma tear, minus 30,000. Minus 163,290, plasma tear, minus 30,000. Minus 167,234, plasma tear, minus 30,000. Electricity flowed through the soil, giving off a burning smell. Congratulations, you killed a guard of the Holy Royal Family General's mansion and gained experience, 13,000. Congratulations, you killed a guard of the Holy Royal Family General's mansion and gained experience, 12,500. Real men never look back to see the explosion. The general's mansion guard whose limbs were shattered by a punch has been mixed with the soil. The army of the undead didn't even look back, and rushed towards the depths in a mighty manner. But, at this time, there is always someone who breaks the formation. Ah! The ghoul next lay on the smoking soil, looking at the burnt limbs mixed in the soil, and screamed in pain, as if he was shouting, "What a waste! What a waste!" Mermaid skeletons fell like raindrops, hitting the decaying flowers and plants of the general's mansion. The dauntless ship skeleton rushed in like a mountain. The broken ropes and masts on the ship had been completely repaired, and it was swinging more powerfully. It came with a ship full of pirate skeletons, and all the pirate skeletons were screaming, because they can feel that there are treasures in the so-called general's mansion that they love to hear about. Despair and fear spread in the general's mansion, and the Holy Royal Guards were already shouting in fear. This is a true natural disaster. There was no decent resistance along the way. The Holy Royal Guards were like paper, unable to withstand the Thunder Skull Emperor's second punch. The Queen of Darkness can also charge up one arrow every second. The Ghoul Nex is a bit weak. It needs to fight with the Holy Royal Guards for a while and rely on its fighting instinct to kill the opponent. However, it likes to have plenty of food and clothing. It hunts and eats by itself. As long as it passes by the thunder, there is no corpse that the Skeleton Emperor and the Dark Queen can eat. The woman's screams were getting closer and closer, and the lewd laughter and roars were getting stronger and stronger. It seems that there is no change due to the coming of the undead natural disaster. Does General Black Sun like to play so much? It's all called in, and it's still messing around. Chin Zi frowned slightly. There seems to be something wrong with this Black Sun general. On his way here, the mermaid skeletons that fell from the sky and the black crows that spread the epidemic had already rushed in, but they didn't seem to disturb General Black Sun's good deeds, and all kinds of cries continued one after another. In the giant trench suspended in the sky, the skeleton of a deep-sea titan appeared, and then fell straight into the depths of the general's mansion. Boom! The skeleton of the deep-sea titan fell from the sky, causing the entire ground to tremble. About 15 meters tall, he poked out from the wall of the general's mansion. It raised the giant anchor covered with seaweed high and then slammed it down. Dang! The dull sound of metal collision sounded, and the giant anchor weighing more than 10 tons suddenly flew into the sky like a kite with its string broken. Then it drew an arc in the air and crashed into the ground, leaving a big crater. Lu Yong, Mu Shui and others who had not yet stepped in were trembling. Lu Yong, my mother, this Black Sun general is not built. The heavy iron anchor just hit the sky, with a height of more than 10 meters. What kind of power is this? Mu Shui, it is worthy of being the final boss of the nightmare-level main-line dungeon. I saw it today. I think even if tens of thousands of people attack this boss, we may not be able to win it. It will take at least hundreds of thousands of people, and all of them must be at level 40. In this way, let's kill the boss alive. Catwoman is a bit of a nymphomaniac and seems to have a general complex. I don't know why, but the image of Lu Bu popped up in my mind. It must have been some kind of weapon collision just now. Sun Yunlong, is this a place I can come to? General Black Sun, how many kilograms and tails? Just look at it and you will know. Bang! Chin Zi raised his foot and kicked the dark door open. The bulky figure of General Black Sun gradually appeared in everyone's sight. Catwoman stood stunned on the spot for a moment, her filter shattered on the floor. She turned around and vomited directly. Those layers of fat that look like lard, are you serious? And it turned black, as if I hadn't showered in several years. And what he was doing was even more unsightly. The futon-like palms were playing with two slender women, and there were even a few caught in the fat folds, as if they were enjoying the feeling of friction. You ruined my good deeds. General Black Sun's smile faded, and his dark eyes were dotted with golden streaks. He looked directly at Chin Zi with murderous intent. Dark Destroyer, you should join us in pursuing strength together. General Black Sun's voice was low, and his body slowly rose. It looked like he was standing up, but the fat was still hanging on the ground. The golden diamond-shaped crystal between his eyebrows lit up, releasing brilliant golden light, and at the same time lit up all the golden stripes on his body. The golden light was so bright that he actually had a sense of divinity, like a Buddha who saved all sentient beings. But then, the light released by the rhombus crystal began to turn black, as if it was broken. The golden stripes cracked into the shape of a Ruan spider web. The black spider web broke away from General Black Sun's body, but swayed in the surrounding air, like a black mist composed of fine lines. Paired with a fat body, at first glance it looks like a black sun giving off its luster. This is the so-called Black Sun General, his final form. At this time, ancient diseases also appeared in another form. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.